I will call the meeting to order and ask the secretary to call the roll.
Rue. Present. Curtis. Gilbert.
Present.
Hightower.
Present.
Odell. Present. Salger. Sharma.
Present.
Simmons.
Present.
Tedrick.
Present. Okay, a quorum has been established. For this morning's meeting, I decided that the format of today's meeting is prudent because of the ongoing disaster proclamation for public health concerns. I would like to move to the presentation of the Lyndall W. Sturgis Memorial Public Service Award next. In 1979, the family of the late Lyndall W. Sturgis established an endowment to fund an award to recognize the contributions of SIU Carbondale employees to his or her community, the area, state, or nation. Mr. Sturgis served as a member of the Illinois Teachers College Board from 1941 to 1949. He served on the first SIU Board of Trustees after SIU attained university status in 1949 and was elected chair in 1969 and served in that role until his retirement from the board in 1971. At this time, I would like to recognize Pam and Phil Pfeffer. Pam is the granddaughter of Lyndall Sturgis, and the namesake of this award. Pam and Phil, will you please stand to be recognized? The Lyndall Sturgis Award carries a $1,000 cash prize. A plaque and the recipient's name has been engraved and will be added to the Lyndall Sturgis Award perpetual plaque displayed in Anthony Hall. The recipients of this award. Oh, we do have a short video. Don't we? Okay, thank you. Yeah, I guess we now have a short video which we would like to play. Somebody's supposed to play it. There we go.
We honor our own Lyndall W. Sturgis, known as Mr. Southern Illinois because of his many contributions to the infrastructure and business climate in our region. As a vital member of the Board of Trustees and the original SIU Foundation Board, he helped transform a small teaching college into the full-fledged university that we are today. His life and legacy are reflective of his advocacy in giving back to the community and the Southern Illinois region. To create a long-lasting memory of Lyndall's work and his dedication to SIU, the late Jean Sturgis Easley, his daughter and 1966 Saluki alum, established an endowment fund to recognize the contribution SIU Carbondale employees make to their community, area, state, and nation. Today, Lyndall's granddaughter and 1967 Saluki alum, Pam Pfeffer, keeps the family legacy alive as an ongoing significant benefactor to the SIU community and as a custodian of the endowment. Each year, Lyndall W. Sturgis Award winners are nominated by the SIU community. They are campus employees who have made a positive impact on the region and the university in a way unrelated to their campus employment. Today, we continue honoring Lyndall W. Sturgis's impact and legacy by recognizing this year's winner. Please join the Board of Trustees, Lyndall's family, and our campus community in congratulating the hardworking nominee in their service to the community.
The recipient of this award distinguished themselves through their dedication to serving others And the same is true of this year's recipient. We are pleased to honor Dr. Dan Beck, the 2023 Lyndall W. Sturgis Memorial Public Service Award recipient. Mr. Beck is an associate professor of kinesiology in the School of Human Sciences under the College of Health and Human Sciences at SIUC, and he specializes in exercise physiology and human biology. His involvement in the community for which he is being recognized today includes serving as secretary of the Rotary Club of Carbondale, for which he has served in other past roles, including president, a member of the Knights of Columbus, for which he was also a past president, a board member for the Thrift Shop in Carbondale, and a member of the Friends of Carbondale Public Library. As part of being a member of these organizations, Dan has played an integral role in providing service to the community. For instance, as a board member for the Thrift Shop, he has played an important role in hiring staff and making physical improvements to the store. For the Friends of Carbondale Public Library, Dan is described as the go-to person who places all the roadside signs advertising the Friends of Carbondale Public Library book sale. As past president of the member of the Knights of Columbus, he regularly participates in fundraisers like the Fish Fry Dinner. Dan's most notable work has been with the Rotary Club of Carbondale Breakfast. He has held almost every executive position in that club during his 30 years plus service in Rotary, from yard sales to fundraising bike sales to trash cleanups in town. On behalf of the SIU Board of Trustees, it is my honor to present to Mr. Dan Beck with the 2023 Lyndall W. Sturgis Memorial Public Service Award. Mr. Beck, will you come up to receive your award? And Dr. Mahoney, Dr. Lane, and Mrs. Kessler. Please. Would also like to recognize the past Lyndall Sturgis Memorial Public Service Award recipients. Would you please stand? And last, I'd like to recognize the past Lyndall Sturgis Professional Achievement Award recipients. Would you please stand?
Call right now. Which one?
No, any of them are here or not, but we'll give them a round of applause anyway. Next, we would like to present certificates to student trustees Dorcas Brew and SIU Carbondale and Haley Odell, SIU Edwardsville, for their outstanding service on the board, as this is their last regularly scheduled board meeting. We thank you for your efforts on behalf of the students and wish you well in the future. Can you please come forward over here? We will now proceed with the committee meetings. The first committee meeting today is the Academic Matters Committee. Dr. Hightower, will you please proceed?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The meeting of the Academic Matters Committee is now in session. Vice President Gupchuk, are there any announcements?
Thank you, Chair Hightower. I'd like to report on a couple of important collaborations across the SIU system. First, the new MS in Forensic Sciences at SIUE is only the second degree of its kind in the state. It is a collaboration between several departments at SIUE and the Illinois State Police, with involvement of the SIU School of Law. This is an excellent example of system collaboration with the community. The second example I'd like to give is the unique collaboration between the ceramics departments at SIUC and SIUE. Professors Patty Chalmers from SIUC and Joe Page from SIUE and their students were selected for a joint exhibition at the National Council for Education in the Ceramic Arts. This meeting was held in March 2023 and was attended by more than 4,000 people. The exhibition, called Merge, consisted of one piece each by 12 graduate students, 8 undergraduates, 3 post-baccalaureate students, 3 alumni, and 4 faculty from the 2 campuses. And it took place at the Duke Energy Convention Center in Cincinnati over the duration of the conference. Chair Hightower, those are my announcements.
Thank you. Moving on, is there a motion to approve the minutes for the meeting held February 9th, 2023?
So second.
We have a motion and second. Madam Secretary, please perform the roll call.
Hightower,
Yes.
Brew,
Yes.
Salger, Sharma.
Yes.
The motion passes. Moving on, the next item is the presentation of the 2023 SIU System Student Distinguished Service Award. Dr. Gupchuk.
Thank you, Chair Hightower. I would like to request Haley Odell, the co-chair of the Student Advisory Committee for the SIU System, to present the SIU System Distinguished Student Service Awards. The Student Advisory Committee for the SIU System has worked very hard to develop this award. This is the 3rd year that the awards are being presented, and I'm pleased to see them recognize the excellent service that our students have rendered to the university and the community. Haley, would you please begin?
The 2023 SIU Student Distinguished Service Awards recognize, honor, and celebrate the efforts and contributions of students whose active service are demonstrated of excellence and exemplary commitment to the support, advancement, and achievement of fellow students, their campus, and their community. The SIU, the Student Advisory Committee for the SIU system, selected 1 undergraduate student and 1 graduate student for both the SIU Edwardsville and SIU Carbondale campus. In addition, the SACSS selected 1 student from each of the following schools: the School of Medicine, the School of Dental Medicine, School of Law, and the School of Pharmacy. Each awardee will receive a plaque and a $100 gift. For the awardees present, as I read your name by, please stand and make your way to the front for a photo with the board chair. So this award is for the SIU Carbondale undergraduate student, Alexis Hammond. As a junior at SIU Carbondale, Alexis Hammond studied ovarian cancer in a lab focused on developing prevention strategies for ovarian cancer using natural products. Hammond's important work in the lab helped lead to insights about how cell behaviors are regulated and molecular underpinnings of cancer-driven fibrosis immunity. Involved in the Sweet Health Professionals Association, Hammond has recruited the organization to help with Gumdrop, a local charity that distributes food packets for weekends through local schools and children in food insecure households. As a science ambassador, Hammond utilizes her research to help recruit students in the university. By creating a video about her cancer research, Hammond helps new and prospective students realize the benefits of research and nature as they decide what pre-med pathway. As a passionate community, Hammond has led nearly 100 campus stores, served as a student advocate for the sociology department, participated in student panels, and has spoken in university one-on-one class. Okay, so the SIU Cardinal graduate student, we have Natalie Height. Natalie is a fifth year in the PhD program at Southern Illinois University School of Medicine. As a PA, Height has over 20 undergraduate students. She has also judged SIU research fairs and participated in the International Science Sciences, a program where scientists are mapped to K-12 classrooms around the world. Height was able to answer students' questions, show them human brain, and the naked bull rat lab where she works. Height has also served in several executive positions on the board of Alpha Psi Sigma, a professional chemistry fraternity. In this role, she has judged science fairs for local middle and high schools, helped Boy Scouts earn STEM merit badges, proctored chemistry olympiads, and created interactive science schools that the local science discovery center. Height also assists at the Rolling Oak Ranch Alpaca Farm, connecting SIU Veterinary Club with the branch, providing alpaca pie and demonstrating alpaca. The student received the award for the SIU School of Law is Alexandra Williams. Alexandra is a third year law student who interned in the drug unit at the McLean County State Attorney's Office 3 different times for a total of 865 hours. The SIU School of Law only requires a total of 35 pro bono hours to graduate. As an intern, Williams worked with local drug units and performed for many tasks with confidence and in close attention to detail. After receiving her 711 license, Williams presented cases to the grand jury week, conducted custody bond court hearings once a week, and presented plea agreements, remission hearings, and fitness hearings, among many other tasks. Alexandra even presented a motion that resulted in a 10-year prison term for a defendant who was involved in a drug-induced homicide. Williams' dedication to her role was paired with compassion and empathy for those who were victims of criminal offense and the local community, where Williams makes and delivers safe goods to first responders. The recipient for the SIU School of Medicine is Tunisia Green. Tunisia Green is a third-year medical student. She serves as the SIU School of Medicine Class of 2024 Service Coordinator, where she has organized donation drives for the unhoused in the campus and surrounding area, serves as a volunteer and mentor for underserved kids in her community, and co-founded Capital City Dance Team, where she trains kids in hip-hop techniques and offers weekly Zumba classes for adults. As the coordinator for Black History Month, Green visited local schools to spread awareness about health, organized violence prevention in town hall, and put together a panel about Black history. Okay, moving on to the SIU undergraduate student. The recipient is Sai Medavaca. A senior at SIU Edwardsville, Sai Medavaca has dedicated extensive time to helping new students and their families with the transition to college. He has served as co-captain of the esports for All Stars team, pre-medical ambassador for the pre-health hub, the at-large representative of the Honor Student Association, undergraduate liaison of the Indian Student Association, and a peer mentor for the Honors Program, and 2 first setup for transition work. Medavaca has also served as a rural parish local clinic volunteer, where he helps provide free medical treatment for uninsured and underserved individuals in rural areas and connect people with medical assistance programs when needed. In addition to his volunteer work at Feed Kind People and as a hospice volunteer at Vitus Healthcare, Medavaca has helped provide EKGs on patients that identify underlying heart conditions and offer preventative medicine to help improve overall health outcomes for communities. Congratulations, Sai. The recipient for the SIU graduate student is Andrea Ayers. She is a graduate student at SIU Edwardsville. Ayers has helped with the hearing panel committee, volunteering during new student organization, welcome week, homecoming, spring fest, and the Black student welcome reception, and the Always Cougar Summit. She has also established Adopt a Highway Cleanup programs for Sigma Gamma Rho sorority, incorporating the founder and president of the SIU or Student Diversity Club. I also organized an event called For the Culture, Courageous Conversations, where students were taught how to publicly advocate for the needs of marginalized communities. I sought out enough funds for the event to provide 100 students with a free book to support their professional and academic work. Congratulations. The recipient for the SIU School of Dental Medicine is Mitchell Mueller. Mitchell is a fourth-year student at the SIU School of Dental Medicine. He is the student body secretary and treasurer for the student council, the ISD chair for the 5x5, dental fraternities, and a student member of the American Academy of Dental Medicine, the American Academy of Pediatric Dentistry, and the American Dental Association. Mueller dedicates time to tutoring pre-clinical dental students in addition to his academic service. Mueller has volunteered at Give Kids a Smile and the medical school Veterans Day, while also providing dental screenings and oral health information to children at home. Congratulations. And last, but certainly not least, we have SIU School of Pharmacy recipient Anthony Bissey. Anthony is a third-year student in the School of Pharmacy. He was selected to serve as the pharmacy student team leader for the 2023 Jamaica Dental. An avid teacher and learner, Bissey dedicates many hours to the Student Resource Center, tutoring classmates and students in the years behind. In addition to in-person tutoring, he has created a video for first-year pharmacy students explaining wound care triage. His support of his fellow learners extends to his recruitment efforts as he helps with events like Open House and the Leadership Education and Advocacy Pharmacy Students Program. Congratulations, David. And the names are listed up on the screen are mentions that the committee also thought deserves some recognition, and then we can get into the
I'm having trouble hearing. So if we could make an adjustment on the volume with individuals speaking at the podium, that would certainly help. I don't know if other trustees who are not in attendance are having trouble as well. Hello?
Yeah, a little bit, Dr. Hightower. I'm having just a bit.
Yeah. Should I move on?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Again, we're having some difficulty in hearing. Again, congratulations to all of the 2023 SIU System Student Distinguished Service awardees. Congratulations, and appreciate all of the outstanding work that you're doing. Moving on, committee item 4 is proposed revisions to the Board of Trustees policies to export control policy. Mr. Wakeland, will you introduce this item?
Good morning. We changed the policy to be cleaned up better for each campus for community purposes. We changed the wording SIU system. We changed the wording from the Director of Export Controls to Export Control Office. And we also changed who is trained on each campus. Now it's by the Export Control Office, the Provost, and the Chief Research Officer of each campus. The notice of training procedure, including plan training, employees training, and dates of training, will be provided to the Chancellor, Provost, and Chief Research Administrator on each campus prior to the training. those are the changes that we made. Any questions?
Is there any further discussion? Is there a motion for the Academic Matters Committee to approve committee item 4?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Madam Secretary, please perform the roll call.
Hightower,
Yes.
Brew,
Yes.
Salger,
Yes.
Sharma.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. The next item is the Centers and Institution Report FY 2022. Vice President Kupchak, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the committee, as well as members of the board, should have received a copy of the latest Centers and Institutes report. It includes among an imposing list of research, instructional, and/or service activities in support of the academic programs in the system. Each center or institute provides faculty and students resources to learn more in specific areas of interest to them. Each campus has selected a center or institute to highlight. Since SIUC is a host campus today, we will begin with Dr. Jim Garvey, Director of the SIUC Center for Fisheries, Aquaculture, and Aquatic Sciences. He will be followed by Dr. Aziz Khan of the Simmons Cancer Institute, and finally, Mr. John Coppert of the National Corn to Ethanol Research Center at SIUE. Dr. Garvey, please go ahead.
Thanks to the board for having me here today to talk a bit about our.
Jim, can you kind of speak more into the mic so the Dr. Hightower, can you hear okay, Dr. Hightower?
I can hear you very well, Mr. Chair, and all of the others at the table, but we're having trouble at the podium.
All right, I'm doing the best I can. Here I am, so hopefully you can hear me. So my name is Dr. Jim Garvey. I'm the current director of the Center for Fisheries, Aquaculture, and Aquatic Sciences, which reports to the Office of the Vice Chancellor for Research. And we also work with the College of Agricultural Life and Physical Sciences here at SIUC. I'd like to say a little bit about our center, some research and training that we do for students. Can you go to the next slide? Our center started in 1950. President Lloyd Morris wanted to increase research and graduate education on this campus, and so he recruited our first director, Dr. Bill Lewis, who was a faculty member here for over 30 years. Dr. Lewis started the program in aquaculture and fisheries, rose to prominence within the nation, became the president of our American Fisheries Society, as well as garnering the top award in the American Fisheries Society in 1980. And so we moved from there to one faculty. We have 5 faculty who garner research support. For every dollar that SIU invests in the center, our faculty bring in about 5 times as much funding externally to support research. We also teach and train graduate students, and of course, the main thing is garnering as much experience for our students as possible. The next slide, please. Centerpiece of our center is what we actually call Saluki Aquarium here. The Saluki Aquarium physical space consists of about 18,000 square feet indoor wetland space, and here's a couple of our students working with our resident sturgeon, as well as a large outdoor space of about 100 acres that is directly adjacent to the Attachment Nature Environmental Education Center, which consists of 90 ponds and a research lake. All of this is supported by external research and the benefit of our students. Next slide, please. So what I want to do is give you just a brief idea about what kind of research is going on in our labs. First, I want to introduce Carolina Kwachek, one of our faculty in aquaculture. Start video, please.
Hi, my name is Carolina Kwasek, and I'm an assistant professor in aquaculture in School of Biological Sciences and Center for Fisheries, Aquaculture, and Aquatic Sciences here at SIU, and we strive to support sustainable growth of fish production through better feeding practices. We predominantly work with fish in early developmental stages. In most species, fish larva represents a very vulnerable stage, unable to swim, unable to see, unable to digest food very well. So raising larval fish in captivity can be very challenging. Many fish larvae don't have fully developed digestive tracts, so they are unable to utilize dry foods as well as juveniles or adult fish. Instead, they require live food, zooplankton organisms, during their first days or weeks of feeding. Our lab focuses on finding ways to replace live food with diets based on unique ingredients or based on unique physical properties of the pellet.
And well known internationally for the work with fish nutrition. Now I'd like to talk a bit about some of the field conservation ecology research we do here with Dr. Craig, which is explaining his research.
I'm Greg Whitledge. I'm a professor here with the Center for Fisheries, Aquaculture, and Aquatic Sciences at SIU. My lab group studies fish ecology and fisheries management. And so we have a variety of projects around the Midwest in rivers and lakes. And so my lab group monitors fish populations out on the Ohio River using electrofishing. Another technique that we use commonly in my lab is called otolith microchemistry. This involves use of small ear stones from the fish, and we examine the chemical composition of these structures to make inferences about environmental history of individual fish. So this allows us to do things like determine the contribution of stockfish to populations that are supported by both stocking and natural reproduction. And we use this to infer natal environments for wild fish to support conservation of native fish species and to direct control efforts for invasive species like Asian carps.
Very and we support the in the state of Illinois. This involves looking at our fish happens here is actually working in our lab right now, helping you create a job in the region. Again, our students are the most important aspect of what we do. We help them through our partnerships with stakeholders that do like wildlife service, the Illinois Department of Natural Resources, USDS, and various other agencies, and the students go off to jobs. I would say with the confidence that 95% of our graduates at the graduate level go off and work at agencies or private industry, and our undergraduates get great positions when they graduate program and stay here. So the main portion is creating jobs, creating experiences, so that our students can clearly be working on a go-to job, which is kind of the coolest thing ever, at least on the bias. So now I'd like to just have you briefly get an idea of our job program next video.
The Saluki Research Aquarium provides the facilities for me to house the Chinook salmon that I work with, and I wouldn't be able to perform any of the tests that are necessary for my work here without it. For me, one of my favorite experiences working in this department is doing really hands-on things, working with the sturgeon out at the wet lab, learning their behaviors and how to take care of them, and learning about all of the biodiversity in Southern Illinois waterways, including the Wabash and the Illinois rivers. I really enjoyed sampling out there and gaining experience.
they're doing here at SIU. I hope it gives you an idea about sort of the really cool things that are going on here. I also have to shout out to our students who are having a fish fry on May 4th, Evergreen Terrace. If anyone gets some fish, $5 donation for your belly. That'll include Kobe, invasive carver. So we'll try that. Go for it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Garvey. Dr. Khan, go ahead.
Thank you very much. If you could put up my slides, please. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. SCI, Simmons Cancer Institute, has a steering committee that provides recommendations for the SCI executive director on matters concerning the goals, performance of the institution in accordance with its mission. The committee meets quarterly. Can you advance the slide, please? And the members of this committee include Dr. Jerry Cruz, Dean and Provost of SIU School of Medicine, as well as the chairs of the Department of Medicine, Dr. John Flack, and the chair of the Department of Surgery, Dr. Michael Neumeister, as well as Dr. Laurent Broad, professor in the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology. Dr. Tori, Associate Dean of Research, is part of this group, as is John Horvat, Associate Provost of Finance and Administration. We also have two representatives from Springfield Memorial Health, and they include Charles Callahan, PhD, President and CEO at Springfield Memorial Health, and Kevin England, Senior VP and Chief Administrative Officer at Springfield Memorial Health. Please advance the slide. In 2022, Simmons Cancer Institute provided care to over 20,000 patients. These were the total patients seen in that year. Of these, 395 were new patients. Our infusion center took care of an additional 6,744 patients that were receiving chemotherapy or other biologics. The total number of clinical trials currently open at Simmons Cancer Institute is 137, but we have access to a total of 187 trials and can expand if need be. And the faculty published a total of 28 peer-reviewed articles in 2022. Can you advance the slide, please? Our major accomplishments last year was establishment of a retail pharmacy, which provides state-of-the-art oral chemotherapy to our patients. We hired an additional pharmacist and currently have 2 pharmacists and 2 pharmacy technicians. The pharmacists are also responsible for providing education to the patients who are scheduled to receive chemotherapy, both oral and IV. We've begun the process of accreditation through the Accreditation Council for Healthcare and are enrolled in Prime Therapeutics that provides our patients in various insurances access to our pharmacy. We are also very proud of our Hematology Oncology Fellowship Program. There are 10 ACGME accredited fellowships in hematology oncology in Illinois. 9 of them are in Chicago. We are the only downstate ACGME accredited program training internists to become hematologists oncologists. And last year, our first batch graduated. Currently, we have 6 fellows under training to become hematologists oncologists at SCI. Can you advance the slide, please? Thank you. We also started a paid summer internship program for undergraduate students in 2009. This is a 9-week hands-on program where undergraduate students spend time in our research labs and acquire skills and a 9-week learning stint. This has been extremely competitive, and we usually have 20 or 30 students apply for the 4 positions. 3 of these positions are in Springfield and 1 is in Carbondale. At the end of their 9-week internship, each intern gives a 15-minute presentation on their research project. These internships are paid and they are funded through Denim and Diamonds, our fundraising gala. The event is attended by donors, faculty researchers, as well as intern mentors and their family members. The other program that we are very proud of is side-by-side exercise program, which is open to all patients undergoing treatment for cancer, as well as those patients who have already completed their treatment, along with their caregivers. This is also funded through grant funds and is open to all cancer patients and their caregivers, regardless of where they're being treated in Springfield. These classes were being held virtually due to COVID, but have since resumed in person. Can we advance the slide, please? Since 2018, SCI referrals have increased over 50%. Could we advance the slide, please? This is a slide showing our financial data. Our state appropriation, which reflects overall SIU School of Medicine state appropriation funding, is $2,017,860. Grants and contracts adds another $353,000 for a total revenue of $3.371 million. Of this, our major expenditure is salaries, which accounts for $1.218 million, equipment expenditure of around $22,000, and contracts and services of $217,000, telecommunications $28,000, and miscellaneous expenditures of a little over $17,000 for a total expenditure of $1.509 million. Revenue minus expenditure in 2022 was $861,828. I just want to bring up something. We also have a $1.076 million special appropriation for SCI that is directed to operations and maintenance expenses for the buildings. And this is under the budget authority of the facilities and services. Can we advance, please? We have had major staffing challenges during COVID, but these have now basically completely resolved. SCI clinics are almost fully staffed now. In hematology oncology clinics, we have 7 attendings, 6 fellows, 3 nurse practitioners, and 14 clinical staff, including RNs, LPNs, MAs, and healthcare techs. Our infusion center has 6 clinical staff. 4 of these are certified nurses that can deliver chemotherapy. Could you please advance? Our goals for 2024 is to increase the number of patients being seen and the services offered in our infusion center, and to complete the pharmacy accreditation process. We are also in the process of recruiting an additional hematologist oncologist because of the volumes we are seeing, and are looking forward to renovating the 3rd floor space at SCI. We are also in the process of hiring for a call center, which is critical for the workings of the cancer center. Thank you very much. Are there any questions for me?
We will save the questions until the end.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Colbert?
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for this opportunity. I need to start with just a couple comments if you don't mind. Chancellor Lane, between my wife and I, we have 4 undergraduate and graduate degrees from SIU Carbondale. And amongst 10 immediate family members in our family, we have 19 undergraduate and graduate degrees down here. So it's always great to learn. For the board of trustees, I know that in the role you serve, it's easy to often feel unappreciated and undervalued. I'm a 3-term member of the Board of Education, Waterville, where I live, and I'm a 3-term board president. I want to express that I sincerely appreciate and value your service on the Board of Trustees. With that, my name is John Potter, I'm the Executive Director of the National Climate Ethanol Research Center and serve at SIU. I'm going to spend just a couple minutes talking about how our center was formed and also the success of the center. In 1996, the National Climate Ethanol Research Center was created out of the research title of the 1996 Farm Bill. In 1997, $21 million of federal and state appropriations were made available for bricks and mortar. In 2001, ground was broken on the 4-acre site in which we're located in University Park of SIU. In the fall of 2003, we opened our doors. So a little bit later this year, we're going to be celebrating the 1-year anniversary, which all of you will be invited. Next slide, please. On February 20th, 2007, State Representative Jay Hoffman introduced House Bill 1313. Now, this piece of legislation was critically important for our center for the following reasons. First, the bill established a 14-member governor-appointed advisory board. The SIU system president serves as chairman of our board. And I'd be remiss if I didn't point out that President Mahoney has done an exemplary job. And this time, assistant president serving as our chair, and I appreciate that very much. The the legislation also formally identified the center as a biorefining center of excellence. This became critically important in 2020 during COVID. We as a research center found ourselves on the front line of the COVID pandemic. How? We were the first facility, first organization in the world to produce World Health Organization spec sanitizer from corn-based ethanol. We did that on March 20th of 2020. Next slide, please. This is our mission. This is the role that we serve. We are an independent third-party research center. We are focused on concept, validation, and technology scale. For the products and technologies that we work with, we are the final step in the pathways to commercialization. Next slide, please. This is one of my 2 favorite slides. Why we have had a tremendous success in revenue and funding generation. Over the course of our 20-year existence, we have generated on average $4.78 million of annual revenue and funding. If you take out a couple of fiscal years that were impacted directly by COVID, that number goes up to $5.4 million on average. What does that mean in terms of the context of an appropriation? On our $1 million special appropriation that we received, we're generating $4.78 of revenue and funding per dollar. Our corporate partnerships, we wouldn't be in existence without our corporate partnerships. International global leaders like Siemens, Shimadzu, DuPont, and others. Our funding stream is broken down like this. Approximately 82% of Our funding and revenue comes in the form of contractual research that we do to companies in the private sector, with the remainder being in the form of both state and federal grants. In fact, it's awesome to follow Dr. Garvey today, is that we've done a number of research projects in collaboration with the Aquaculture and Fishery Center here at SIU. Next slide, please. We are a public-private partnership success story. Our facility is unique. We are the only one of its kind in the world. And I want to repeat that for emphasis' sake. Insert is the only facility of its kind in the world. We've assisted the private sector in commercializing more than 80 different products and technologies. These products and technologies have created tens of thousands of direct and indirect jobs. These technologies are generating in excess of $7 billion of revenue on an annual basis. In an independent third-party study that was conducted in 2015, every operating ethanol plant in the United States, there's more than 200 of them, were utilizing at least one product and technology commercialized at insert SIU. Next slide. And then finally, fulfilling our mission within SIUE and the SIU system. We're extremely proud of this pathway to employment through applied practical training that occurs at insert. Since 2014, 100% of the persons who have received applied learning at insert have gone on to full-time gainful employment in the private sector. To quantify that number, it's more than 400 individuals. From high school students that come in job shadow with us, to college students who are working as student workers, PAs, interns, from research fellows to postdocs. These learning experiences have led them to gainful employment in the private sector. With that, Chancellor Reiner, I appreciate your opportunity today, President Mahoney, as well as the Board of Trustees. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Are there any questions from our trustees? Comments? To our presenter today, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to present a very comprehensive and detailed update on the various initiatives around the SIU system. This was well said, well done, and we appreciate your efforts. At this time, if there's no further business before the Academic Matters Committee, this meeting is adjourned.
Dr. Hightower, before I move on to the Finance Committee, I want to say that yesterday, before our board meeting, Dean Breivik took a few of us on a tour of the Fermentation Institute at SIU. But before we went to the Fermentation Institute, he took us to the nerve center of the agriculture operations. When the van pulled in there, I saw 3 huge John Deere tractors. And my first thought was, I do not remember the board approving the purchase of these John Deere tractors. Only to find out that we have a partnership with John Deere where they provide us the tractors to help educate our students and for our farming operations. Well, then I saw Chancellor Lane climb into one of them. And if it had a key, he'd have probably taken off in one of them. But we had a hard time getting them out of it because it was like a Rolls Royce up there, wasn't it, Chancellor Lane?
Cadillac.
But it was, and then we went to the Fermentation Institute, and that is a program that is growing by leaps and bounds. And it's we're just doing amazing things academically on this campus. And I just wanted to point that out, that we had that tour yesterday, and how wonderful it was to see what we're doing for our students, not only for our students, but for the communities and the area around us. So anyway, thank you. Okay, with that, I'd like to, next meeting is the Finance Committee meeting. Mr. Tedrick, you may proceed.
Thank you. The first item on the agenda
It is approval of minutes for meeting February 9th, 2023. Do I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Madam Secretary?
Tedrick,
Yes?
Curtis, Odell,
Yes.
Sharma.
Yes. The minutes are approved. Committee item 2 proposes temporary financial arrangement for fiscal year 2024. Dr. Stuckey, will you present?
Thank you. Each year we bring to you this action for your approval. This gives the president authority to continue paying expenses after July 1 until we can bring the next year's budget forward to you at the September meeting. We seek your approval.
Any discussion? Do I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Oh, second. Madam Secretary?
Tedrick,
Yes.
Curtis, Odell,
Yes.
Sharma.
Yes. This item is approved. Committee item 3 proposes tuition rates and fee matters at SIUC. Chancellor Leonard.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. SIU Carbondale is pleased to continue to hold the line on tuition and fee increases for its students in this next fiscal year. This is the 6th year in a row for no increase in undergraduate tuition, which we think is helping to keep college affordable for families and in part fueling the growth in some of our enrollment in different areas. There's no increase in the graduate student tuition either. SIU Carbondale is also not seeking any increase in the on-campus general student fee, which funds student services, campus life activities such as the rec center, athletics, Saluki, express buses, and many more areas that create that student life on campus and in the community. Likewise, there are no proposed increases to housing and dining services. We do have some very specific increases noted in the board matter that affect a portion of our student body in specialized areas. We're proposing small increases to student tuition and fees in the medical school. Specifically, there are tuition increases of 2.5% for MD and Doctor of Medical Science students and 5% for PA students. School of Medicine technology fee will increase by $25 a year, and its student activity fee will increase by $20 a year if approved to provide increased services in these areas. We're also seeking a small increase to the off-campus student fee, which is paid by students in exclusively online or off-campus programs. The $7.40 a credit hour fee increase, which is about 10% of the current fee, supports the operations of our SIU extended campus. Notably, this portion of the fee has not been changed since its inception in 2010. In return for the increase, these students will see enhanced services, and the university will support faculty in developing innovative academic programs for this community of online or off-campus students. The last item for your consideration is a 4.9% increase in the student health insurance fee, which is set by the vendor in accordance with their contract. Notably, only about a third of SIU Carbondale students rely on this insurance, so the vast majority of students are unaffected by this increase. That concludes the report.
Thank you, Chancellor. Any discussion? Do I have a motion to approve? So moved.
Second.
Madam Secretary?
Tedrick,
Yes.
Curtis, Odell,
Yes.
Sharma.
Yes. And the matter passes. Committee item 4 proposes tuition rates and fee matters for SIU.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. SIUE also maintains a strong commitment to accessibility and affordability. For 18 of the last 19 years, SIUE has posted the lowest or second lowest tuition and fees for all public universities in the state. The university, however, has reached a point where the operating expenses required to deliver a high-quality degree are outpacing revenue. As a result, SIUE is seeking board approval for a modest increase in tuition and fees. SIUE seeks a 2.9% undergraduate tuition increase for students enrolled in 15 credit hours. That increase would amount to $135 per semester or $270 annually. This new rate will only apply to new undergraduate students in fall 2023. given the state law that keeps tuition continuous and locked for current and continuous students. The increase would generate an estimated $480,000 for the institution, which would assist in keeping pace with increasing instructional costs. The university also seeks a 2.9% increase in the general student hourly fee that would amount to $3.50 from $108 to $111 per credit hour. This increase of $94.50 per academic year would apply to students who are enrolled in 30 credit hours per year. The increase would cover the associated expenses with critical support services such as mental health, computing infrastructure, and facilities maintenance costs. SIUE seeks approval for a 3% increase in graduate tuition with a couple of exceptions. School of Pharmacy would be exempt. The DNP, the doctor of nursing practice, and the nurse anesthesia program proposes a differential rate program fee of $237 per credit hour. The School of Dental Medicine is proposing a new technology fee for all students in the cohorts of $573 for the fall and $254 for the spring and summer terms. School of Pharmacy is proposing an increase in the clinical program fee of $419 per semester and a software fee increase of $247 per semester. The cost associated with maintaining adequate clinical rotations and the required clinical sites, along with quality supervision and mentoring and other expenses, are associated with that fee. All of the fees that are listed here are in the board item. That concludes the university's presentation.
Thank you, Chancellor Munger. Any discussion? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
So second. Madam Secretary?
Tedrick,
Yes.
Curtis, Odell,
Yes.
Sharma.
Yes. And the item is approved. Committee item 5 is the approval of salary appointment of the provost and vice chancellor of academic affairs, SIUC. Chancellor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And before I introduce this item, I want to thank Wick Kiefer and all of our faculty, our faculty senate president, staff members that participated and gave great feedback in this search. We are excited to welcome Dr. Cheryl Tucker. We had to go all the way to Oklahoma to get Cheryl. Personally, had to go all the way to Oklahoma to get Cheryl. We're very excited. Dr. Tucker is currently the vice provost and dean of the Graduate College at Oklahoma State University, where she joined in 2011 as dean and professor of chemistry. She also brings experience working for the National Science Foundation at the University of Missouri and at the University of Missouri-Columbia, both of those places. She earned her undergraduate degree at Kent State and her master's at the University of North Texas and her doctorate at Duke University. Again, we're all excited to have Dr. Tucker join the Saluki family, and I'm delighted to recommend her appointment to you for consideration.
Thank you, Chancellor. Any discussion? Do I have a motion to accept? So moved.
Second.
Madam Secretary?
Tedrick,
Yes.
Curtis, Odell,
Yes.
Sharma.
Yes. So the item is approved.
Why don't we have Dr. Tucker stand?
Okay, yes.
So
Committee items 6 through 8, proposed purchases of software for the SIU system. Will Clark?
Thank you for the opportunity to present this next 3 items for your consideration. Item 6 is the board matter seeking approval to enter into a 3-year agreement with SHI International for the software for the Microsoft software licenses to be used throughout the Southern Illinois system. The total cost for this agreement is just under $3 million and will be purchased through an Illinois Public Higher Education Cooperative Award. SIU Carbondale, including the School of Medicine, SIU Edwards and SIU Edwards will jointly propose entering a 3-year agreement for Microsoft licenses, which will cover the use of Microsoft 365, Office, and various desktop and server operating systems. The software is utilized by students, faculty, and staff on university owned computers, lab environments, and on production servers. Item 7 seeks approval for the purchase of Oracle support services for the Oracle e-business suite applications, databases, and middleware software known collectively as the Administrative Information System, or AIS. This is used within the university, used within the Southern Illinois University system. The purchase is made under a contract negotiated by Northwestern University Compact and Oracle America Incorporated. Through this 2-year contract in the amount of $1.1 million, Oracle America provides security and maintenance patching and version upgrades for the SIU system's financial and human resources applications. Item 8 seeks approval for the purchase of a combined software maintenance and licensing agreement with Illusion Company LP, otherwise known as Illusion, for the Carbondale and Edwardsville campuses. The purchase order for the maintenance, licensing, and professional services agreement totals approximately $6.5 million over a 5-year period. Illusion is the current vendor for the SIU Carbondale and the SIU Edwardsville Student Information System. Its banner product includes student financial aid, human resources, payroll, and procurement accounting modules for both campuses. I respectfully submit these matters for your consideration.
Thank you, Will. Any discussion? Is there a motion to accept items 6 to 8? So moved.
Second.
Madam Secretary?
Pedrick,
Yes.
Curtis, Odell,
Yes.
Sharma.
Yes. And the motion passes. Thank you. Item 9 has been pulled from the agenda, so we'll move to items 10 through 14. Dean Cruz, will you speak to these items?
Yes, I've got the next 6 items. And so the first 4 relate to annual renewals and the last 2 relate to facilities. You want to take them in those groups?
Let's take the 4 to the
4 first. Okay, these are items S, T, U, and D. All of these are the recurring annual costs with 1-year or multi-year contracts. You've heard about most of these before. Item S is for the 340B pharmacy program. This is the annual contract. Last time we considered an extension of that. It provides low-cost pharmaceutical agents to our federally qualified health center patients. This is a $5 million contract with McKesson. After the initial expenditure, we recoup all of those costs. The next one, item T, is for local tenants physicians to provide services for pediatric general surgery and pediatric orthopedic surgery. Hard to recruit faculty for those positions. We'll still continue to do our best. This is 2 contracts, one with localtenants.com for $3.4 million, one to Weatherby Incorporated for $1.85 million for 1 year. Item U is for HVAC. It's a renewal of Carrier Corporation for 1 year for $1 million. And the item B is for telephone maintenance and technical support. It's a renewal as well. It's a 6-year contract for $243,000 a year. Those are the first 4.
All right, any discussion? Do I have a motion to accept items 10, 11, 12, and 13?
So moved.
So second. Madam Secretary?
Pedrick,
Yes.
Curtis, Odell,
Yes.
Sharma.
Yes. And the motion passes. Let's do item 15 separately, or let's do 14 then.
Okay. So you want to do the items that we
Yeah, so
together or separate?
15 is with the academic or the architecture design.
Okay, you're gonna.
We'll do them separate.
Okay, so item W is for our Bayless building, which is our main surgical building at the SIU School of Medicine. Currently, we occupy floors 3, 4, and 5. We're currently under renovation is floor 2, which we will take in this week's as well. This is with Memorial Health. They own the building. This will replace our previous lease for the Bayless building. This is a 15-year lease from 2024 to 2039, 64,600 square feet. Total cost of $41.8 million for the 15 years. So we're terminating the old contract, and this is replacing it for most of our surgical services.
Yeah, I guess this board won't be dealing with this again in our lifetime. Any discussion? All right, do I have a motion to accept item number 14? So,
Second.
Madam Secretary?
Tedrick,
Yes.
Curtis, Odell,
Yes.
Sharma.
Yes. Okay, item 15 is the approval to acquire real estate and is in discussion with the architectural design committee. Dr. Cruz?
Oh, okay. You want to do this one now?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So just for context, there's several things that we're doing in the school of medicine. For this item and the rest of the things in the architectural design committee. Since the pandemic began, the year before the pandemic, comparing to now, our increase in patient visits is 40%. The increase in our work units for our physicians is 35%. Increase in revenue is 20%. It will catch up. It takes a while after you do the work, actually. Our number of RVUs has actually increased from 1.1 million to 1.6 million. So all of these things represent a need for facilities for growth. So this one's for purchase of a building in Springfield in a very good location, South Grand and Fifth Street. It's the old Walgreens that's there. We plan to purchase it and renovate it and move some of our clinical services there. We're bursting with the seams right there. So this is a 1310 South Fifth Street, 13,905 square feet. The purchase is $2.15 million. The renovations will be $3.5 million. It also comes with a nice.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Mr. Simmons, is there any discussion from you or your committee?
I'll ask the committee, Mr. Chair. Anyone have discussion on this?
If not, do I have a motion to accept or approve?
So moved.
So second. Madam Secretary?
We'll begin with finance. Tedrick,
Yes.
Curtis, Odell,
Yes.
Sharma.
Yes.
Simmons,
Yes.
Curtis, Odell,
Yes.
Tedrick.
Yes. And motion is approved. Thank you. Committee items 16 and 17 are approval of purchase for SIU. Dr. Redskott.
Thank you. So item 16 is for purchase of SIU athletic apparel. This matter will award a contract for the purchase of team athletic apparel, footwear and accessories for SIU 7 men and 7 women sports teams, coaches and staff on an annual basis. It includes an exclusive and direct athletic sponsorship in the agreement. The contract is from Game One Adidas. It would have an initial 6-year term effective July 1, 2023, with the option to renew for 2 consecutive 2-year periods for additional 4 years. Cost of the initial 6-year contract with Adidas Game One is approximately $1.35 million, $225,000 a year. Total value of the 10-year agreement, the option is approximately $2.25 million, depending upon the needs of the athletes, staff, and coaches, and the number of competition practices and events scheduled throughout the year. Chancellor Minor and I recommend approval.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Do I have a motion to approve? So.
Second.
Madam Secretary?
Tedrick,
Yes.
Curtis, Odell,
Yes.
Sharma.
Yes. These items are approved. Thank you.
The next one is well. This one is SIU beverage vending service reporting rights. This matter will award a contract for beverage vending services and reporting rights in all campus locations, including the one in St. Louis, outside of Illinois University of Hubbardsville. Contract for up to 10 years, includes an additional 5-year contract with a 5-year option. and will provide beverage vending services for you guys in the amount not to exceed $6.943 million. This would be awarded to PepsiCo in Cypress, Texas. The actual cost of the contract, of course, is dependent upon need for each of these services. We also recommend execution.
Thank you. Any discussion? We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
So second. Madam Secretary?
Tedrick,
Yes?
Curtis, Odell,
Yes.
Sharma.
Yes. And it is approved. Thank you. Committee item 18 is approval of Executive Director for Marketing and Communications. President Mahoney.
Yeah, thank you, Trustee Tedrick. As we look at the roles we have at the system level, we continue to reevaluate those. Over the last few years, we've eliminated 2 positions, combined 2 into 1. So again, eliminated another position, have added 1 and then elevated 1. As we look at what we're doing right now, relative to our strategic plan and the work we have at the system level, we feel the need to add the Executive Director for Marketing and Communications. At this point, we've kind of added that responsibility to someone else who has a full-time job at the system level, and then are constantly stealing time from the campus leaders in that area, which has not worked very well. So this will allow us to do some of the things we really plan in the strategic plan. So we think it's the one position we need to add at this point.
Thank you. Any discussion? Do I have a motion to approve? So moved.
Second.
Madam Secretary?
Tedrick,
Yes?
Curtis, Odell,
Yes.
Sharma.
Yeah. And the motion passes, so there will be no further business. We are adjourned.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Tedrick. The next meeting is the Architectural and Design Committee meeting. Mr. Simmons, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes held February 9th. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Ms. Odell, Mr. Tedrick?
So moved.
I'll second it. Madam Secretary, we call the roll?
Simmons,
Yes.
Curtis, Odell,
Yes.
Tedrick.
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 2 is approval to acquire real estate and project at and budget approval. It's the item 18, I think it was, on the Finance Committee that we held jointly with them. So it's already been approved by both committees. Item 3 on our agenda is the award of contracts at Thompson Point Heating System Piping Replacement on the Carbondale campus. Board item BB. And the document, item 4 is the documentation of ownership of property and granting of easements. Committee items 3 and 4 propose an award of contracts and documentation of ownership of property and granting of the easements. Vice Chancellor Simmers, would you introduce these items, please?
Thank you for the opportunity to present this matter. On number 3, the award of contract. At the December 2nd, 2024 Board of Trustees meeting, the multi-phase project to replace the existing piping with the heating system at Thompson Point was approved. Phase 1 of the construction will be completed during the summer of 2023 and will address the systems and Smith and Warren Falls. The cost for this first of the 2 phases is estimated at $750,000 and will be funded by Housing and Auxiliary Facilities System revenue bonds. Bids for this project were received in accordance with the state and university procurement process and are shown in the attachment tab in the board materials. I respectfully submit this matter for your consideration. Number 4, documentation of ownership and granting easements southeast corner of Oakland Avenue and Chicago Street, Parkville campus, SIU. This matter seeks to formally document ownership of the property contiguous to the campus and is being brought forward at the request of the Illinois Department of Public Health. I thought a little SIU history would be helpful here by noting that the original property was purchased by the state of Illinois in 1939 from Rowena R. Thompson. The Thompson family owned much of the property that comprises campus today, including Thompson Woods and the campus limit. Part of the land purchased by the state back then was used by the Illinois Department of Public Health for the construction of a public health laboratory, and part was to be used by SIU. Over the 8 decades since then, different than formal and mutually workable agreements were made between the university and the Department of Public Health. However, it was recently requested by the department to formalize the property ownership between the university and the department for their own planning purposes. This matter documents the allocation of property in question between Illinois Department of Public Health and SIU, and will provide a legal agreement for the ownership. I respectfully submit this matter to your consideration.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Vice Chancellor Simmers?
Yes, I do. Does this, I'm still not clear. Does that mean the SIU will own the old lab?
The old lab was,
What does this motion do?
it was used by the Illinois Public Department for the construction of the public health laboratory. I do not.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I've reviewed this as a matter of course as it comes forward. It was confusing which part of this land the lab owned and which part the university owned. This straightens all that out. They had to go back through the records and I think it was it straightened out the confusion. There's
Okay. This just documents the
ownership. This documents
I think the
ownership by
question
both parties.
But the question is, who owns what, right, Roger?
Yes.
Question is what? The lab owns the land it's on, the university owns virtually the rest of the property.
All right, thank you. What this does in part is it was documented at the state level, but essentially there's no record at the county level. So when you go in, like you would normally look at a parcel in the county record, it doesn't really show that the state owns it for IDPH purposes. So it allows this recording of it to formalize it there too. Okay, thank you.
Great.
Is the
Any
state-
further questions?
Yeah, is the state using that facility? Is there any use that they are using? Yeah.
Okay, is there a motion to approve committee items 3 and 4?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Madam Secretary, could you call the roll?
Simmons,
Yes.
Curtis, Odell,
Yes.
Tedrick.
Yes.
Thank you. That item's been approved. Next is committee items, and we'll do 5 through 7 together. They're planning approvals and a project for budget approval, School of Medicine, SIUC. Dr. Cruz, I see you're stepping up. Will you introduce these items, please?
Thank you so much. So these are building projects. The first one, a DD or item number 5, relates to the School of Medicine's top priority project for capital funding in the new educational building. All of them will move forward with planning using local reserves and then the development of total costs over time determined by the architects and engineers who are developing this. So first, item B, the new educational building. I will mention that since 2016, the number of learners at the SIU School of Medicine, medical students, residents and fellows, physician assistants, and graduate students has grown from 790 to 1,040. So that's an increase of 42%. Our current educational building is over 50 years old, and though we can renovate the office and research facilities, it is technologically speaking, it's obsolete for teaching medical students. So we want to move forward with this, with at least the planning part of this one. So the planning and design is 8.7 million. We'll use reserves for that. The estimate for the cost of the building is 79 to 87 million. We don't know that final cost yet, and more will come back on that. So for these issues, the resolution will be to develop plans and cost estimates, to develop a plan for implementation, and to authorize the president of owning to take whatever action is required to get this signed. I think that's it. So EE is a new ambulatory instructional facility, a clinical facility for our Neuroscience Institute and the new Behavioral Health and Workforce Center. Again, it relates to the clinical growth that I mentioned before, the need for more space. The planning and design for this phase is 3.85 million for use reserves. The total cost of the building is estimated to be $35 to $38.5 million. But again, that remains to be seen. FF really relates to DD, which is item 7, item 5 relate together. This agreement project will link our 801 building, our original medical school building, to the new educational building, and will provide space for everyone who is in those buildings. And the only food and beverage facility that we will have, we've never had them before, is a new plan. So this is 6,000 square feet of renovation, the cost of $5.7 million, and it will be done with plant reserve funds. So that's, are there any questions about that?
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Dr. Cruz. Is there a motion to approve items 5 through 7?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. And Madam Secretary, will you call the roll?
Simmons,
Yes.
Curtis, Odell,
Yes.
Tedrick.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, committee item 8 is an information report about fundraising for SIU Foundation Building at the Carbondale campus. Dr. Kupek, will you present this item, please? Thank you.
Trustee Chair, Simmons, I'd like to pass it to Ray Cook, if we could, we'll do the presentation. Ray, one of our great board residents and alum, and thank you, Mr. Cook, please go ahead. All right, thank you, Trustee Chair, Committee Chair, Simmons, President Mahoney, Chancellor Lane, Trustee Chair Gilbert, and we congratulate the trustees for the opportunity today to share some exciting information. Before I do that, I thought I might want to briefly provide some background on how we got to where we are today at this point. Next slide, please. As I'm sure you're currently aware, SIU Foundation offices are located in Collier and Captain Halls on Cold Creek Road. With the university plans to close all the buildings on Creek Road, the foundation has been asked to move its offices to a new location. As a result, just over 3 years ago, I was asked by the Foundation President David Delaney to chair a committee of Emeritus Foundation board members to investigate the options and possibilities related to such a move. During the process, we worked very closely with Chancellor Lane, Foundation staff leadership, and a consultant to identify and vet available spaces on campus that might work for us. After thoroughly vetting the possibilities, a decision was made to shift gears and start developing plans for building a new building on campus. As a part of that plan, the foundation board felt that the building should be more than just a home for the foundation, and should in some way provide a benefit to the university. With that thought, a discussion of the Welcome Center for the benefit of the university was put forward that would be funded entirely by the foundation and private donors. So in the end, not only are we planning for building a building that's a home for the foundation, we're building a building that will serve as an incredible resource for the university. Next slide, please. This slide shows a proposed site that we would like for the building to be on at the entrance to the campus, and of course in the old Kansas Stadium footprint there, as you can see, where that parking lot currently exists, and we'll be talking quite a bit more about that in a second. Next slide, please. This represents the site plan and indicates how the building might be positioned on the site, as well as associated parking, ingress, egress, etc. The building will be oriented toward the intersection of Highway 51 and Lincoln Drive, directly across from the Student Services Building and east of the Student Center. You got to get oriented with that, and we'll have some more discussion in a moment as to kind of what that would look like on that site. Next slide, please. This slide represents an elevation of the building that we've been working on with the committee at the intersection of around 51 and Lincoln Drive. As you would view it, you were coming into the campus in the main intersection of Route 51 and Lincoln Drive. And there's ongoing discussion right now related to the final design and cost of the tower that you see as part of this. So the committee has also requested the architects to show an elevation that would be without the tower. Next slide, please. This gives you an idea that the tower is pretty dramatic, but in the event that there was not a tower, this is what we'd be looking at. So the next slide, please. This next elevation is the view toward the entrance of the building as it would appear approaching from the student center side. So as you're over the student center coming right now, what's the parking lot there coming towards that location? This is the view that you would get. Next slide, please. And this slide, of course, is the same perspective that would be without the tower. So kind of give folks a feel for what it would be if it had a tower and if it didn't have a tower. Next slide, please. This slide represents the first floor plan. And some things I think to note here. Moving from left to right, there's an expansive outdoor covered patio on the left side there with a balcony that would be above. The center width section of the Welcome Center auditorium as you move to the right, that includes those dashed lines that you see are movable partitions, much like those here at the Student Center, allowing for 4 partition spaces if the need would arise for that space to be partitioned. At the entrance is the lower lobby, the lower lobby that leads into the auditorium. And as you enter the auditorium, that dashed view that you see represents the location where the tower might sit. And that would also be an atrium as you look upward from the auditorium.
But I'm on Zoom, so I looked up those numbers and sent those telephone numbers to you. Did you get them?
Yeah, on mute, Ed.
I think we got some heat or something. Anyway, to the right, there's significant storage, catering spaces that are connected there to the auditorium. And the pictures on the left of the screen there are from the state South Dakota Foundation Alumni Building, and display some of the elements that would be in our building as well. I think Matt, you actually visited that site and we'll generate some ideas for what our building might have. So they have display sections there for historical situations, and of course a staircase that would be much like a staircase in the end of the rotunda part of the auditorium. Next slide, please. The second floor is essentially related to the foundation only, and everything to the right there would be foundation offices on the second floor. But you'd be able to look down into the auditorium from that corridor above there, as well as those display sections there. So on the first floor, we've got pretty well full much is the Welcome Center, the university, and then on the right side is where the foundation offices would be located. Next slide, please. And finally, we wanted to show some elements of the Missouri State Welcome Center. And their Welcome Center, not that we would propose that ours be exactly like this, but some elements of that Welcome Center are that they have different kiosks there for like representing information for the different colleges, et cetera, whatever the university might want to portray there. Partition meeting spaces are to be a little different than that, but we're finding that many of our peer institutions have welcome centers much like this, where information can be distributed. Next slide, please. And finally, in closing, let me just say that we're excited about what this building can mean for our university and the foundation. The state-of-the-art Welcome Center would be a great place for mission tours to begin. Important lectures and functions can be held, as well as house the offices, the SIU Foundation staff. This particular look here is this has the top taken off the Welcome Center where you can look down and kind of see what that would feel like.
Hey, I'm at this, well, I'm on a Zoom with this SIU trustee meeting today.
Dr. Hightower, you're not on mute.
Anyway, again, that concludes my presentation today. And I'd be happy to try to answer any questions. And again, thank you so much for the opportunity to share this information.
Thank you, Dr. Kupek. I have a question about sustainability. Are you looking at any efforts for energy conservation and or generation with this?
Yes, our goal for this is to be a total LEED certified building. We've already been talking about many of those elements, but that will be very, very important.
Great. Mr. Tedrick?
Yes, as a liaison of this board to the foundation, this is an exciting project. Greg and his committee worked on hard on this. We looked at they looked at different locations. But the idea came up that we had the ability to do this, I'll say the foundation, with private monies. And Chancellor Lane, you should probably speak to this too, and what that welcome center brings to the university.
Yeah, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Mr. Cook and Dr. Kupek. You just got a doctorate there from Trustee Simmons there. This fits directly into our strategic plan would imagine SIUC in 2030. The first pillar is student success and engagement. It is truly going to be a front door welcome center for our students, for our visitors, for our community members. This will be a game changer for our institution as we bring them in. We love our student services building. That's more operational, where the welcome center is truly a welcome center. So thank you all for even considering this.
Thank you very much. And thanks for the presentation, Dr. Kubek. Any other comments from the trustees? Questions?
Well, I'm very excited. It's been on campus for 40 years now. This will be a jewel in our campus.
Great. Okay, thank you. If there's no other business before the Architect and Design Committee, this meeting is adjourned.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Simmons. I move that we take a 10 to 15-minute recess before the full board meeting begins. Stand in recess.
That's going to
If I may.
Said Haley, a year's too short. You should probably be able to put it, use Alexis like software, so you can do it for two. You should actually. Yeah.
Now you're settled. Now it's like bye-bye.
Yeah, it is, as a matter of fact. Well, wish you the best with everything. So it's been a pleasure. I said a year's too short. You need to figure out how they get
I know.
try to know something like that.
It's like you just got here.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what happened? Went that fast. Okay, yeah. Isn't that crazy? It's like we were just talking, saying, hey, congratulations. Welcome. It's hard. It was gone. Yeah.
Full board meeting is now reconvened. I will call the meeting to order and ask the secretary to call the roll.
Rue,
Present.
Curtis, Gilbert,
Present.
Hightower. Dr.
Present.
Hightower, okay,
Present.
Odell,
Present.
Salger, Sharma, Simmons. Trustee Simmons. Tedrick.
Present.
A quorum is established. The next item of business is approval of the minutes of the meeting of the board held February 8th and 9th. Is there a motion to approve these minutes?
So, second.
It's been moved and seconded. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Rue,
Yes.
Curtis, Gilbert,
Yes.
Hightower,
Yes.
Odell,
Yes.
Salger,
Yes.
Sharma,
Yes.
Simmons.
Tedrick.
Yes.
And the minutes are approved. Are there any trustee reports? I will report that the executive committee has not met between board meetings. The next reports will be the executive officers report. President Mahoney, will you present your report for the SIU system?
Yeah, thank you, Chair Gilbert. So we're going to start with the presentation. A lot of the things we've been focused on with our.
Yes.
Yes.
Trustee Simmons is on now.
Oh, okay.
Welcome
to have you,
back.
Trustee
Welcome back,
Simmons.
John.
So one of the things we've been really focused on in the strategic plan is doing more things across the campuses and more collaboration. So I'm going to ask Dr. Rose Morose and Dr. Susan Morgan to talk about the cooperative PhD to start my report.
Hello, my name is Rose Morose and I'm representing the graduate school from Carbondale campus. And I'm here with my colleague Susan Morgan. And we did have some slides. We wanted to tell you a little bit about our cooperative PhD programs. So here is some background data for you. We have 5 co-op PhD programs that are active at this point. You can see the start year for them. Historical Studies is our senior program starting 26 years ago. And then our new program, the newest one, Pharmacology and Neuroscience, just a couple years ago. And you can see there in the second column that we have graduated 30 students total out of these programs. The 2 newest programs have not yet graduated students, but they're students in the pipeline for those 2. And you can see that for the spring semester 2023, we have a total of 30 students who are currently enrolled in the various programs. And the final column, the program enrolled for spring 23, that is a total for co-op students and non-co-op students for each of the programs. So you can see we have the co-op students represent about 28% of the total enrollment for these 5 programs. We have the MOU status on there because the MOU is a very important document that is created through discussion of the faculty from the programs on both campuses involved. And so it's a democratic process and it can be very difficult. And we want to give accolades to the faculty who spend the time to negotiate with each other. We have 3 MOUs that are current, and actually the historical studies was under review when we made this slide, and I'm happy to announce that it is now in the process of being signed. The faculty have agreed to it, and so it's could be updated as current also.
My name is Susan Morgan, Associate Research and Graduate Studies at the SIU Graduate School, and I'm representing Jill Smucker, who is our graduate education co-chair of this committee. I'm going to talk a little bit about what we've been doing. We are focusing on strengthening our current programs prior to considering expanding them, and we focused on closing information communication gaps and bringing faculty together to support program and student success. So we evaluated various options for shared communications and decided to remain with our use of OneDrive and data and document sharing as the best option currently. All currently active co-op faculty have access to that OneDrive, and graduate students have access to it. We track all co-op students in the spreadsheet and OneDrive from application to completion. We also created a list of co-op PhD students so we could directly communicate with them. And one of the items that we directly communicated to them this year is a reference guide we created to address common questions that students and faculty have and processes that each campus can be confusing. Last fall, we got together in person on the Edwardsville campus with program faculty. And then this spring, we had a virtual meeting where the focus is on student retention and completion. Each program with proposed strategies in their control using existing resources to address 4 common barriers to doctoral student completion, and they'll report on their progress at an in-person meeting at Carbondale this fall. It's my pleasure to introduce one of our co-op students, Gepsu Ogden. He came to SIU in 2014 as part of the joint program with Istanbul Technical University. Earned his bachelor's and master's in industrial engineering, started the PhD program in 2020, and received our outstanding teaching assistant award in 2022.
Hello. Is Dr. Susan Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, sure. So as Dr. Susan Morgan just introduced me, I have the recipient of the Outstanding Teaching Assistant Award in the 2022 at the doctoral level. So I primarily choose this program because of my familiarity with our industrial engineering department and the welcoming atmosphere it provides for graduate students in the engineering school. And another reason for selecting this institution is that I completed both my bachelor and then master degrees in industrial engineering here at SIU. So as you can guess, I was happy with the environment they provided me in the department and in the school at SIU. And then this makes my decision a lot easier to pursue in my doctoral degree here in the co-PhD program. And then this decision also allowed me to develop close relationships with our faculty members of the engineering department, as well as with our students here. And then these relationships, along with earning the trust of our faculty members, have undoubtedly aided in the development of my research career. And then our former department chair, Dr. Cho, and the current department chair, Dr. Önal, provided me with valuable opportunities to teach my own courses during both fall and spring semesters to junior and senior graduate students, as well as the master level students. This experience has been very crucial in enhancing my teaching skills and further developing my communication and presentation abilities with the students. These unique experiences in research and teaching will positively affect my future career steps for sure. And then I would like to thank for providing this opportunity in this co-PhD program. And then thank you for being part of the SIU system. So that's all I have for today.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, well, thank you and appreciate the presentation from the faculty and one of our doctoral students. Cooperative PhD programs are a great way for faculty across the system to collaborate. They provide benefits for the faculty members who get to work with these students, but also for the students themselves who get access to expertise across our system. So we're very happy to see this moving forward and continuing to grow. Okay, next slide for me. So we just talked about the cooperative PhD and some of the progress we're making on the strategic plan. Before I get to anything else, we do have some of our incoming student leaders here today. We recognized our outgoing student leaders. So I want to take just a second to recognize them. Victor Ludwig, who is the new student trustee from SIU Carbondale. Victor, if you'll just stand up for a second. He'll be joining us at our next meeting as a student trustee. Lauren Harris from Edwardsville, I don't think was able to be here today, but she will be the incoming student trustee from SIUE. And Philip Hartke, Philip, if you'll stand up, is the new student government president here at Carbondale. He's only a freshman, so pretty early to get involved at that level. So congratulations to Victor, Lauren, and Philip for taking on these leadership roles. We appreciate it. Related to kind of working together as faculty and giving more opportunities for students, we continue our work on the NASH Network Improvement Communities, which focuses on course sharing. We've actually identified 20 courses that will be accessible to students across the system and hope to continually build that from there. I actually teach one of those classes that students can take on both campuses, but this again will give more opportunities for students to give faculty a chance to interact with students from other campuses, and ultimately may make it easier, we hope, for students to get towards graduation more effectively and efficiently. I'm now moving on to anti-racism, diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is a major part of our strategic plan. And I'm going to turn it over to our Vice President for Anti-Racism, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, Dr. Sheila Caldwell.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here this morning. The first thing that I'm very proud to introduce you this morning is the Anti-Racism, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Lifetime Achievement Award winner, Dr. Lee Patterson from SIU and Dr. Robert Joseph Brown from SIU. In collaboration with the Diversity Advisory Council for the system, we decided this year, basically, based on our observation, that we had so many team members who have been 20 years or more doing excellent work of DEI. And so the APEI Lifetime Achievement Award is to recognize staff and faculty members whose careers include 20 years or more of documented service in advocacy and anti-racism, diversity, equity, and inclusion at SIU. Nominees have made a meaningful impact on a robust number of students, faculty, staff, and alumni. This award celebrates these individuals who create, sustain, and expand APEI, resulting in greater justice and belonging for all members in our community. And so first, I would like to introduce Dr. Irving Patterson.
Well, who deserves that?
I think you're robust process and all, but I definitely want to deal with Dr. Early Patterson justice and just share a few comments. This process involves 2 nominations from peers as well as students. And so I think it's important to note some of the words that they use to describe us. Dr. Early Patterson has been described as a force of nature and sometimes shapes a particular environment. That force establishes landmarks, creates pathways, and arranges key aspects of the overall landscape. In the realm of SIU Evansville, Berkeley Patterson has been that force. She is trusted and respected by her students. They recognize and value her commitment to their success. She has proven to be a powerful role model of inspiration. She is indeed a powerful advocate and an effective voice for diversity, inclusion, and equity on the SIU campus. Her reputation has earned her many accolades, recognition, and praise from staff and faculty, especially as evident today. And her students describe her as phenomenal, inspirational, charismatic, and compassionate. They go on to say they credit a lot of their success in life to her mentorship and guidance. I am thrilled personally that Dr. Patterson received this award because she embodies the work of anti-racism, diversity, equity, and inclusion. When people say, what do we mean when we use those words, we now point to Dr. Patterson as someone who is a lifelong active contributor who goes into SIU and society and does justice work. And so again, she received the award, and it gives me this pleasure to say that one of the things that we have not communicated that we can show you, that we can tell you. So now I'm showing you that. Thank you. And now I have another living example to present to you today. Dr. Bobby. So now would like to take a moment, to ask you to share reflection from peers and students, regarding Father Dr. Brown. His contribution to the university, to Southern Illinois, and to the world are numerous. One nominee writer, when I first met Father Brown about 2 years ago, I observed his leadership in person and his broadcast fundraising programs and outreach events organized by WSIU. Father Brown hosted WSIU Southern Issues episode with Dick Gregory, provided commentary for SIU Super Part 3, and appeared with Paul Simon and Bruce Weber on Celebrate 2000. Today, when others are afraid to call for justice, I hear Father Brown's voice. When students are struggling or I need a counsel, I see them trusting and receiving aid from Father Brown. I always learn through his nuanced, critical, and grounded presence, which is at once challenging, consoling, and truthful. As an advisor to peace organizations, Father Brown has created a sense of belonging. He has inspired people of all walks of life to respect each other and to imagine a more just future together. And this is directly a student comment. Understanding that validation is the key to fighting racism. He sees a person for their authentic self without harsh judgment. Father Brown once told me education is sometimes about confirmation. He let me know that the experiences I have experienced are confirmed. He is one professor of very few that made me into the woman I am today. I can now humanize people and understand that they are different in a good way. Old style rules control the way I thought, but now I can lay those burdens down because of the tools he gave me. I think more compassionately and critically. My mind is open. I am going to not make violence function so easily because of him. He is the symbol of anti-racism and human core. And so again, it gives me great pleasure. We've all joined me again to celebrate Father Brown 26 years as an anti-racist advocate for SIU in the world. Now we would like to quickly recognize, and I definitely want to acknowledge that I can have a little to Dr. Sarah. You just heard Dr. mentioned how we would often have to, I think you term field time. And when we first started, we did not have the capacity to implement all the initiatives. And I remember before I came to discover when Pamela Williams, Sarah Locke, and Matthew Smith, who was the associate director and leader for the instructional design team, I was teaching the business. And they came along and even beyond their excellent work, I mean, their attitude has just been incredible. And so we're going to acknowledge them today, just as appreciation, because without them, we would not have excellent inclusive language guide, who I have been asking copyright, because that's how we have done that kind of guide. You also responsible for helping us develop the SIU system, executive summary reports from the School of Medicine, SIU Carbondale, Edwardsville, and also the system. And then last but not least, we now have a video. Oftentimes, when we look at SIU commitment statement, they're actually running narrative form, and Sarah, along with Pam, actually created a video to express our anti-racism, diversity, equity, inclusion commitment. So again, I want to thank you all for your linear expertise and also saving us money. And now want to briefly share about, actually, a second award that we have. Many of you all may be aware that earlier this year, the SIU was the only system office in the country to receive the Higher Excellence Education Diversity Award. And now we were acknowledged at the National Association of Diversity Officers of Higher Ed for institutional excellence. And this award was presented to institutions that have demonstrated measurable progress in promoting and sustaining innovative diversity efforts within their campus community. So the second award was myself, along with Kelly Kirk, of the SIU School of Medicine, Dr. Nancy Brown, as well as Paulette Granberry, who's president of NADP. One of the things I would like to also acknowledge, one of the questions they asked you when you writing the awards that you submitted, why are you writing this award? And one of the things that I was able to write is that this is one of the first times that I feel like our words and our words have matched each other. And so when I think about Dr. Mahoney, Chancellor Lane, Dr. Minor, President and Chancellor Minor, as well as Dean Cruz, I feel like I'm very proud to work at SIU. I feel like there's a lot of integrity. This work is very important to me, that when I submit to these awards, that I don't do what I like to call an education of art of almost saying something, that it actually means something on paper, and that I could signal to the community that we are actually doing this work, and I'm not just writing words on paper to make us look good. So again, when we were able to present all of our efforts from all the different campuses, this was truly a system award. I mentioned every single effort, all of the efforts across the system office, and they read many of those efforts they gave us our award. And so again, it was a proud moment for us to receive that at the NADP conference, where they are actually the organization that sponsors all diversity officers throughout the nation, and they have some international partnerships. So again, I just want to thank everyone in this room, Diversity Advisory Council member, Dr. Harris, from the Vice Chancellor, we have Dr. Fraser and the Elohim as well. We would not be able to achieve this type of excellence without them. So I just want to say thank you for that. And then wrapping up, I also just want to share about national presentation. One of the visions that we have was to not only be acknowledged throughout the state, but across the nation as well. And so we presented a presentation at NADP with ABI, where we specifically talk about the effects of our campus climate survey. That was very well received. And I'm also proud to say that the School of Medicine also presented on working together and disruptive dialogue. This conference took place April 12th through 15th in Baltimore, Maryland. We also had our president, Dan Mahoney, present on diversity, hiring, and intercollegiate athletes in Indianapolis and NCAA presentation. And then upcoming, again, with the School of Medicine, national presentation in California, again, to speak about sustaining the momentum of equity, diversity, and inclusion initiative using change management principles. So it's important for us to be able to tell our story to a wider audience. I'm glad we have to write and compete for these presentations that they have been set. And again, we get to promote the great things that SIU is doing throughout the nation. With respect to tenure and promotion recommendations, I also want to thank the Diversity Advisory Council for the system office of collaborating, and also Dr. Structure. We have basically crafted a recommendation specifically as it relates to scholarship, teaching, and service on how to incorporate ABCI into the tenure and promotion process. I do want to say that these are simple recommendations, and the system advisory council for faculty will have to decide based on those recommendations what is best for their particular committee as well as for the campuses that they serve. But we were very pleased to do this because we do want to acknowledge the great work and also the invisible labor that many of our side faculty staff do throughout the year. And the last thing I would like to share is a conversation of understanding. Many of you all had an opportunity this past July to see a presentation on the campus climate survey. And during that presentation, I shared 6 narrative things that really stood out. And so we have conversations about this here, and this is Sarah Griffin campus expo, that we decided to dedicate all 6 things to findings. And we found that as we looked at our YouTube videos for the individuals who participated, we had about 1,200 views this year. And we specifically focused on free speech, diversity of thought, diversity fatigue, racial battle fatigue, employee appreciation and writing this in the important process. For those of you who are interested, you can actually go on our YouTube channel and view those particular segments. So again, thank you for your time and attention today.
Well, thank you, Vice President Caldwell. And I do want to say when a few years ago, I talked about us being national leaders in the ADEI space. And I think while we're not where we want to be yet, and we still have a ways to go and lots of goals to accomplish, we're making a lot of progress because of Dr. Caldwell and other leaders across the system, and certainly awards like the NATAHE Award, being invited to do presentations across the country is some indication that we're making that progress. So congratulations to her. I also want to recognize a guest we have here, Dr. Candace Hall, who's with us today. Dr. Hall, if you could stand up for a second. Dr. Hall did a documentary called Cluster Luck, which is about cluster hiring, where you're bringing together a faculty of color and African-American faculty in one group. And the importance of that and the success of those faculty moving towards tenure. It's received a lot of national attention. It has been really great. It's just Dr. Caldwell was talking about recognition is one of the things we like to receive for the work we're doing. Her documentary has got a lot of recognition for us. And it's kind of nice because she's here today, not to talk about that, but to support her colleagues who are up for tenure and promotion and really demonstrating the success of that cluster hire program. So congratulations, Dr. Hall, and thanks for being with us today. Okay, I think they took my slides away. Yeah, we need to go back. That is possible. There we go. Thank you. Just a couple other really quick updates relative to the Institute for Rural Health and the Office for Community Engagement. Again, these are things established by the board back in the summer of 2021. We actually have our first cohort in the Certified Recovery Support Specialist program. We'll be finishing the classroom portion in May and being placed at apprenticeship sites. This is a program really that's done a lot of good work relative to helping people with substance abuse and other issues. And we're real proud of the efforts that we're making in that area. We've now received funds to purchase a mobile clinic unit to provide medically assisted treatment for opioid use disorders. This is again under the Institute for Rural Health as well as our Center for Rural Health. And we're working with university and community partners to help leverage these efforts to really support our communities better. So we're proud of both of those things. And again, signs we're making progress on some of those initiatives. The Office for Community Engagement is involved with a number of different funding proposals where we're working together either across the system, but often also with outside, in one case, lodging agencies, restaurants, museums, others to try to get grant funding to help support development in our region. And so we're proud of those. Again, hopefully some of those will come through and allow us to do some additional work, but there's some real exciting opportunities that office is pursuing at this time. And then that is it. I just want to mention, for those who did not see it, we had SIU Day at the Capitol on April 18th. That was quite successful, an opportunity for us to interact with our legislators. So again, another successful, the first time we've had it since I've been here. Not because we didn't want to, but there was a pandemic to deal with. So it was nice to be back. It was nice to be back in the Capitol and be able to interact with our legislators. So that is my report.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Mahoney. Chancellor Lane, present your report for the Carbondale campus.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's hard to believe that we've only got 3 weeks left in the semester. Time really moves fast when you're having fun. As I was talking to student trustee Dorcas Bro, who I want to acknowledge, she and I spent several months together. It's gone fast. She's getting a little sad over here because her time is up, but we've had a lot of great conversations. She's been extremely instrumental in our work in the transfer space. I know she went to College of DuPage, transferred in, has done an amazing job. So I want to give her a big congratulations there. Thank you for all the support you give us. We have some other folks that are leaving us as well, going on to do great things. Our outgoing USG president, Isaiah Overton from Rock Island, Illinois. He's an electrical engineering major, already has a job lined up. I know he's not here today, but wanted to publicly acknowledge him and the things that he's been able to do over the last year. You met Philip Harkey. Philip's going to do a great job from Sydney, Illinois. He is a freshman, as you heard earlier, and so he is on fire. He's going to do a a great job. You met our new student trustee, Victor Ludwig, sociology and Africana studies major. I know Victor is going to do some amazing things as well this year. I want to thank Dr. Lee. Dr. Lee is our outgoing now faculty senate president. Dr. Lee and I spent a lot of time together. And I imagine we'll still spend time together, but Dr. Lee has helped guide a lot of the things that we've been able to accomplish over the last 2 years. And so my first president, he was 2 years for me. Incoming president, Dr. Bethany Rader. Dr. Bethany Rader is going to also do a tremendous job. Outgoing GPSC president, Caleb McKinley, Porte Caleb. Everyone knows Caleb from Harrisburg. He does a fantastic job, obviously finishing his doctoral degree. And so we're very excited for Caleb. The incoming GPSC president will be Rachel Nazika. Rachel is also going to do a great job. And I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge Dr. Brown. Where else can you work where you get smacked in the back of your neck when you greet someone? He just hit me in the back of the neck when I said hello to him. So he's been here long enough. I guess he can do that. I've never had any of my faculty members slap me in the back of the neck. So there you go. Thank you, Father Brown. Thank you very much. We also had two folks. We've mentioned Cheryl Tucker, our new provost that's here. But we had two individuals that step right in and step right up. And that's Dr. Mark Morris. I want to acknowledge Dr. Mark Morris and Dr. Bob Morgan. If you can help me give them a round of applause. They're our co-provosts during this time. So appreciate the work they've done there. We'll get right into it. Promise this is not too long. If you go to the next slide for us, I have to point out, it probably needs no introduction. We've had a very fun couple of months here in the spring semester. You're watching some footage from our very own Bob Odenkirk. And everyone knows who Bob is. President Mahoney probably knows him the best. I think he's been watching a lot of those episodes here on this. So he knows him very well. This just gives you a couple of snapshots of what we did when Bob was here. Bob took time not to just come here and receive his honorary doctorate, but you know, he really took time with our students, with our faculty in the classroom, and I think he had a really great time. Obviously, class of 1984, he shared stories of all of the things that he's been able to accomplish over the years. So it was really good to have him back on campus. We told everyone we couldn't pay for that kind of a media presence that we had here. And so you can see him there in the classroom. So he just had a great time in being back. So I think our Dean Chang and others there that welcomed him back, our faculty were also present. So really exciting time there. Next slide. On the left, you will see, and I know Matt Kupek, are you still here? I've got to tell you, I've never worked anywhere where we've had a foundation so supportive. The SIU Foundation goes above and beyond to help our students, and they will tell you they're an accelerator to what we do here at the university. You saw the presentation earlier with the SIU Foundation building, Welcome Center building. They continue to amaze me in the type of support that they give. Our SIU Day of Giving, if you can see there, just a record there that we set with Matt, what was it? 4.4 million? You want to call it 4 million? Over 4. I knew he'd go there. Over 4. In one day, that's a lot of money. And that's a lot of money that goes to support our students and our university. So hats off to the foundation. Really appreciate that. 3 years ago when I arrived, it's something that we really wanted to bring to SIU Carbondale in our Saluki Ball. We had the inaugural Saluki Ball in Chicago. It was an absolutely amazing event. Our alums were there, our partners were there. That would be partners and corporate partners. Our donors were there. We just had a fantastic event. It's something that we'll do every year. We raise money. That ball, it goes to supporting our students that we know they don't always drop out, they stop out because they don't have the funds to get them sometimes from orientation to graduation. And so this ball with the money we raise goes to close the financial gaps for students. And so when you have those students that show up in our office a week before classes begin, and they're down, and right Todd Bryson over there, when they're going to Todd and saying, hey, I need a little bit of help. This is our way of closing the gap and helping those students. So really excited about that. Want to thank everyone for participating. We had a great time there. Let's go to fall enrollment. As you know, we're in the yield season and trying to make sure, even though our applications, as you can see, are way up, our admits are up. We're excited about that, and the undergraduate new student population that's coming in. Thank you for moving that forward. It gives you a sense of where we are there with our undergraduate class that's coming in. We expect that class to exceed what we did last year, so that hopefully will continue in that trend. For next, if you go forward there, you'll see our transfer numbers. We're starting to see, again, the traction with the Saluki Step Ahead, some of the MOU and the agreements that we have with our community colleges across the state and even outside of the state. We think that is really going to pay off there. And so you see those numbers. And then our graduate area, I've got to thank our new Vice Chancellor of Research. I don't know if he's still in here, probably not. That's Kostas Satsoulis. Kostas has hit the ground running and making sure that we do much better in our graduate student enrollment. That's something we really wanted to target this go around. So we still have several weeks to go before our students arrive. We have one student in the audience I'm trying to recruit personally. His name is Dane Niblett. Dane, wave your hand back there if you're still back there. There he is. Stay away from him, Chancellor Minor. We're trying to get him. I see you looking at him, Chancellor Minor. Stay away from him. We're trying to get him over there. Dr. Brown, you better help us out with that. So that gives you a sense of where we are with enrollment. Next slide. We're always excited. And as you heard Chairman Gilbert mention this yesterday, we had a chance to go out and show our trustees and others some of the great work that's being done over McClafferty and some other areas. Again, our SIU Foundation has helped out significantly here. We had a great reception. Jeff Gleam and his staff put that together up in Chicago on the evening before the Saluki Ball at the Ravinia Center there. So all around kudos to all the folks that work in those particular areas. Faculty, staff, next slide, recognition. This is a season we really honor all of our faculty and staff that have received the awards. And I tell you what, if we don't have time, but if you were bored and didn't have anything to do and heard some of these nominations that came through, they're absolutely incredible. Those are some shots of our winners. I won't read all of the names there, but we have published these individuals, whether it's on our websites or on social media, and really acknowledging them. Do we have any of our winners in the audience that are here today? If we can give them a round of applause. There's Bethany. There you go. Bethany. Good. So Bethany is doing an amazing job. And again, the list of folks that are here, it goes on and on. Our next slide, I want to bring our chief of police up. I want to publicly thank him. Our folks really over in DPS don't get enough credit. And I'm going to say this publicly. You talk about protect and serving our campus community. That's what these men and women do every single day, probably 24 hours a day, Chief. And I want to commend you and the force that we have here for your professionalism, for your attention to detail. Recently, we had our active threat. We don't call it active shooting anymore. It's the active threat exercise that we had been planning for quite some time. I'll give Chief an opportunity to talk a little bit about it. I think we have a video first that we want to show, and then Chief will give some comments.
As mass shootings continue to make headlines, an active shooter drill took place on the SIU Carbondale campus today. The results aren't in yet, but the campus-wide drill lasted most of the day. SIU police took part, but so did students and professors. The media took part too. Local 6's Ariana Allen spent the day on campus for the drill. She joins us live. So, Ariana, how long did the drill last?
Todd, about 4 hours, SIU police tell me that they're waiting for an after-action report before they grade the drill overall. One student tells me, though, that this drill gave her confidence in her campus if something were to happen.
We don't know who is a student and who's not a student on a daily basis.
Taylor Lawrence knows that as a student here at Southern Illinois University in Carbondale, but also as an advisor for her dorm.
It's a big responsibility, but I look at it as not only just a job, but as also something to be a role model.
Here at Warren Hall, Taylor is responsible for multiple freshmen. She tells me after today's active shooter drill, she feels more confident in doing her job.
With this drill, it's my job to explain to them why it's important and why we're doing this. And if they have more questions, if I can't help them, provide them the other resources that they may need.
Lawrence believes now is the time to run through these scenarios.
I think it's important, especially in 2023, since we have ongoing school shootings, that we practice what to do in case this happens.
SIU Police Chief Ben Newman echoed that, telling me it was all hands on deck today.
Lots of leaders working together to establish things like the reunification center, a counseling site close to the scene, triage center. We had responses from Jackson County EMS and the Carbondale Fire Department. So it was a very orchestrated response.
You heard their two outside entities participated, Jackson EMS and the Carbondale Fire Department. School leaders tell me that other additional agencies like the Carbondale Police Department didn't participate because this was more of an internal practice. Live in Carbondale, Illinois, Ariana Allen, WPSD, Local 6.
Ariana, thanks. SIU police say there were around 50 officials on site today. Police Chief Newman says they want to hold more larger scale drills in the future, but no dates have been planned for that.
Okay, thank you. That's something that happens on an ongoing basis. It's just one activity of many. I know Chief will probably speak to some of that, but Chief Newman, thanks again for your work and you have the floor.
Thank you, sir. Again, my name is Ben Newman. I'm the Chief of Police here at Southern, and I'm honored to have that distinguished title. In accordance with the Campus Security Enhancement Act, each higher education institution is required to develop a national incident management system compliant all hazards plan. In addition, the statute requires institution to have training and exercises for the plan annually. In compliance with the statute, we activate our all hazard plan annually and conduct tabletop exercises. We engage our emergency operations center and develop a response to a specific scenario. This year, we conducted a full-scale exercise based on an active threat scenario, as the chancellor mentioned. Planning for this exercise began in fall of last year. The continuous threat of mass shootings like the Michigan State and Nashville keep preparedness at the forefront of our minds. On April 20th, we held two active scenarios, one in the residence hall and the other in an academic building. We worked with students and staff as role players to establish an incident command on scene. We activated our executive team in our emergency operations center to facilitate the university's response. First responders arrived and quickly assessed the situation to restore safety. Roads and pathways were temporarily blocked to ensure officers could do their work unimpeded. Emergency messages were sent out to our campus. Counselors and medical personnel were deployed to the scene to provide care. Toll-free number and reunification center for families were established, and the chancellor and I held a mock press conference with actors preparing reports. Our all hazard plan facilitated an effective response on that day. A team unified response accomplished those objectives. The drill also revealed several areas for improvement. Our next steps include seeking additional tools for communication within teams, working with key departments on campus to build continuity of operation plans, and mentoring those thrust into critical response and recovery goals. As an institution, we learned a lot from the exercise, which will bolster our response in the event of an actual emergency. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Newman, and Mr. Chairman, that concludes our report.
Thank you, Sandra Lane. Dean Cruz.
On March 17th, it was the day that we learned our new medical students. Well, what we learned where the residencies that our medical students would enter and which new residents and fellows we would get. The so-called match day. I'm going to say a few words about that. Next slide. So just a little review of what goes on in the physician pre-medical studies. 4+ years of study after high school graduation. Must take a very difficult test, medical college admission test to get into medical school, which is usually 4 years. You get in by the admissions process with a minimum score on that MCAT test. And you must take the first 2 parts of the United States medical licensing exam, the first 2 steps to get licensed, as you see there. And then from medical school to residency, you go through the National Residency Matching Program, the NRMP match. That's what I'm going to talk about today. To get into residency fellowships, which last 3 to 9 years, you take your last licensing examination, and at the end, you get to take your test for board certification. Next one. So again, March 17th, you see a lot of green on the slide. It's St. Patty's Day, right? So it's always great every 5 to 7 years to have this on St. Patrick's Day. And it's quite a celebration that occurs at the Memorial Learning Center. These are our students who learn about where they're going for residency. Next one. And so this is the summary. Really good number there. 27% of our medical students stay at SIU School of Medicine residency programs. Our goal is always about 25 to 30%. I think that's a good number. You see what they enter. They're going to be entering here. A lot of family medicine and emergency medicine. And then a good number in internal medicine, which includes all their subspecialties in internal medicine, as does pediatrics, and a really good one here, 9% into psychiatry or medicine psychiatry, which is way more than double the national average. And clearly, you know what is so needed. Of course, at the bottom, you see the other great institutions where the residents go. Next slide. And of course, we had people match, and we know the ones coming in for next year. So we have about 72 students going out for graduation and 113 residents and fellows coming in a total of 22 residency programs and 12 fellowship programs. Our family medicine programs are in Decatur, Springfield, Quincy, Alton, and Carbondale. And then we have sports medicine programs in Quincy and Carbondale. So that's really good. I'll just say that over the lifetime of the SIU School of Medicine, we've had about 6,600 graduates from our med school MD program, and also and including the graduates from the fellowships and residencies. About 800 of those 6,600 did both medical school and residencies. So the total is 5,800 physicians, and they have really become a powerful circle of our region for medical care. It's really great. So I just want to say a couple of things before I finish here. Also, you saw Dr. Aziz Khan from the Simmons Cancer Institute. He is a fabulous leader and a fabulous oncologist. And during the time of the pandemic, due to a lot of factors, they were called to see more and more and more patients, just an incredible volume. I said that our increase in patient encounters increased by 40% during that time. For the Simmons Cancer Institute, it was 98%. Just a fabulous job with fabulous care. And just one other thing, which is relating to what Dr. Caldwell said, the presentations of awards that she gave and the other comments. I'll just have to say that I am thankful that the SIU system, the SIU organization, is a place where we have the freedom to address issues related to equity, inclusion, justice, and fairness, and that the state of Illinois is a place where our academic freedom is not under attack. And I'm glad the SIU system is a leader. Thank you.
Chancellor Meyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll be brief. I do want to begin my report by also congratulating Dr. Earlene Patterson for her recognition and years of service. I didn't get slapped in the back of the neck, but the first time I was in the room with Dr. Patterson with students, she introduced herself. She said to this group of students, "I'm Dr. Earlene Patterson, and I'm your new best friend." And I knew at that moment in time, we had an individual in our university community who was a difference maker, a real difference maker in terms of whether students succeeded or not in this university community. So thank you, Dr. Earlene Patterson. I also want to thank the SIUE contingent who are here to support her and to also recognize her. Thank you all for being here. I want to also say thank you to Trustee Haley Odell, who will transition off the board and graduate. I want to say thank you for your partnership and your service to the university. I'll begin with just a quick update on fall enrollment. As you'll see at SIUE, as is the case around the country, applications are up and up ahead of last year. I think the last 2 years, SIUE has seen record applications, which is very positive. I think we all understand that the challenge today is converting those applications into individuals who are walking around on your campus. So up 14% ahead of where we were last year, which is good news. And for graduate applications, we're up about 10% ahead of where we were last year. As of last week, we received a report that all registrations are also up about 10 or 11% from the same period last year. Next slide. With respect to yield, we have reinstituted a number of measures that we believe are important for converting those applications and those admits into registrations. One has been successful counselor fly-ins. Most of you all know that the relationship that high school students have with the high school guidance counselor or college counselor is critical. And sometimes they're the arbiter, right, in terms of where students go. And so we have had to reestablish and re-engage high school counselors across the state and the region. I had an opportunity to participate in one of the fly-ins, and I can't tell you how effective that is to establish the relationships with the high school guidance counselors. The second thing that we've tried to do is to speed up in terms of responding to students with a decision on their application, both for undergraduates and for graduate students. We know that the competition is more intense than it has been in previous years. And so our ability to respond and get students a decision faster, we believe will make a difference. The last thing that we have had to do more effectively, which is very modern approach to college admissions, is to engage students every single step of the way until they arrive, until they're moving into a residence hall. It's not enough today, I think, to say, congratulations, you've been admitted. We have to stay with students every step of the way until they arrive. And so we're doing that digitally. We're using some other online tools to increase the level of engagement with students during that time. Next slide. We were pleased to announce that earlier this month, we had the honor of welcoming Governor J.B. Pritzker to our campus for a press conference. This was a part of the statewide tour to promote the higher education investments. So we were very proud to be a part of that tour. We were also able to announce the health sciences complex and to support the additional investments that have been proposed by the governor in MAP. Because of the state investments in financial aid, 30% of SIUE undergraduates are MAP grant recipients, keeping them on the path to earning a college degree. And what better way to demonstrate the power of that investment than to hear from one of our own. Pictured there, you'll see Virgie Jones, who's a first-year civil engineering student and a MAP grant recipient. She not only represents, but she also demonstrates the importance and the promise of MAP grants and keeping college affordability alive. I want to transition just briefly to the announcement of 2 new academic programs. Trustee Sharma, I think you'll find that both of these programs are very responsive to workforce demands right now. The first I want to mention is cybersecurity and engineering. The program will be the second in the state and the first in the St. Louis metro region, focusing on the cyber, physical, and engineering aspects of cybersecurity. There are a lot of programs, as you all know, in other universities and at SIUE with cyber in the title, but the vast majority of those programs are offered through schools of business, and they focus on the use of commercially available information security platforms. The focus for this program is to produce engineers who can design, install, and operate hardware and software security systems for specific applications. And we all talk about those industries where we won't be producing the requisite number of graduates to fill those roles. This is certainly one of them. And so we're very pleased to bring this program online. The second, some trustees may remember during the last board meeting, we had a presentation from the construction management team, and we heard a little bit about surveying and geomatics in response to the increased demand and limited number of individuals entering the professional surveying workforce. SIUE is also announcing the formation of a new 4-year degree in land surveying and geomatics. This is the only 4-year degree for land surveying that offers a direct pathway to professional licensure in several Midwestern states. Some of you all may remember from that presentation, we learned that the average age of a licensed surveyor today is 62. And so when you think about the future of workforce, this program will be essential for backfilling the demand in this particular discipline. Next slide. I want to just second or support what you heard in Chancellor Lane's presentation about campus safety. I will also go on record and say both we don't show enough appreciation for our public safety officers, our police officers. I will tell you, most of us have the privilege of not knowing what they do behind the scenes, but I get the phone calls and the text messages, and I get the opportunity to hear about all of the things that they're actively mitigating every single day to keep our campus safe. We're currently utilizing a few additional tools like the e-alert notification system. Obviously, it's helpful to get a text message saying shelter in place or whatever that is. We're actively testing those systems to make sure that they're current, that they work as they should. We also have blue light emergency phones on campus. And the Rave Guardian personal safety app that you see there is really an application, a phone, a mobile device application that integrates several different public safety agencies to give people information when they need it, which is really effective. The last thing I'll mention just quickly are license plate readers. We know that we all exist on campuses that are fairly open to the public. And the ability to get a license plate and to be able to know a license plate number and to be able to know when an individual may be entering or exiting campus, I think is just critical. I'll also just mention that we have completed a full review and updated the SIU Emergency Operations Plan and Safety Guidelines, sponsoring a 2-day threat assessment training, much like the one that you saw in the previous presentation, for emergency response team members. SIUE is also currently hiring 9 police officers to increase police presence and shorten the response time. Community policing is also an aspect of solving issues before they arise. I got word recently that we've acquired electric police bikes, which were pretty fancy. I didn't check the miles per hour on the bike, but it's a great way to take our officers out of a squad car, put them on a bicycle during the months where they can ride and really engage our community differently. Next slide. I want to just say thank you to our foundation team. This is the second annual dedicated day of giving for SIUE. So the institution doesn't have a long history for doing this. Last year was our first. And so we thought it was wildly successful. For second year, no one quite knew what to expect. For the second year of the event, I am extraordinarily proud to say that SIUE exceeded its goal to raise $1 million in a single day. We raised more than $1.2 million, which was really exciting. I want to just take one moment to acknowledge Trustee Sarah Salger, her husband Blake, and her two brothers, Tom and Daniel, who are also Cougar alumni, together made a very special gift to honor an Edwardsville pillar, her dad, Sam Guarino. Trustee Salger, along with her family, established the Samuel R. Guarino Family Endowment that will help students afford college, which we were very proud of, and just very thankful for her level of commitment and her family's commitment to honor her dad in that way. Thank you.
Dr. Minor, you better do a ad for her, the restaurant there.
Yes, we will. We will. Which Bella Milano's.
All right,
as most
get
people know,
it out there. Bella Milano.
Bella Milano's is also a staple for those who live in the Edwardsville area. So it is. I have come to love it. It's a community staple, and we're very glad that it's in our neighborhood. It's in our backyard, and we have an opportunity to continue to patronize Bella Milano. So thank you.
Okay.
Last thing I'll just mention briefly is an update. Trustee Hightower and others have been encouraging the SIUE and the SIU system to do a much better job of getting the good word out. And we have gone through some very intentional steps to evolve our brand position. And most of you all know that changing a logo in a university community can be a very interesting journey. We're glad to.
That's an interesting word you put on it.
It's a very interesting journey. I'm happy to say that most universities transition their sort of visual identity every 7 to 8 years. It had been 16, almost 17 years at SIUE since this has happened. And so we underwent this process. Very pleased to say that we announced the new Cougar logo, which has been well received, I think, across the university community, strengthening our brand identity. So I want to thank the more than 7,000 students and alumni who had a chance to vote. I also want to say thank you to Kedra Tolson and our marketing and communications team who have really led this effort to sort of transform the university's visual identity. Last update that I'll share quickly is that SIUE last week or the week before welcomed Andrew Gavin, the university's next athletics director. We were very pleased to welcome Andrew and his crew as they're becoming known. He comes to us from UW Parkside and has already hit the ground running effective April 17th. We're all enthusiastic and confident in Andrew's leadership to take Cougar Nation to the next level. Mr. Chair, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Minor. Before we begin with the public comments, Dr. Lane, I'm going to ask you, before you came here a few years ago, we had an eclipse here. And in less than a year, and the university was a focal point of that last time. I assume that you folks are gearing up for it in less than a year.
We are. It's 1 year away, and Sarah and the rest of the staff are fired up, and we'll have a presentation in July about that.
Okay. Now, the last eclipse, there was several thousand people at Sluky Stadium, and a cloud came over right when the eclipse happened. So, Father Brown, I'm putting you in charge.
Or you're gonna get slapped.
I'm putting you in charge of the weather.
Good job.
I'm holding you to it now. All right. At regular board meetings, 30 minutes will be reserved to receive comments or questions from members of the public and employees of the university. Speakers' comments or questions should not exceed 5 minutes. Persons wishing to speak shall contact the executive secretary of the board. The executive secretary of the board shall maintain a roster of those seeking to speak and shall call the speakers in order. Madam Secretary, do we have any speakers today?
We do. First, we have Dr. Tim Lewis.
Good morning. I am Dr. Timothy Elijah Lewis, and I currently serve as an assistant professor in the Department of Political Science at SIU. Momentarily, you will engage in a procedural vote to confer tenure and promotion to an entire cohort of SIU faculty, of whom I am a part. While for some of the board members, this may simply be an administrative task, I want to respectfully convey the gravity of this moment for me. The Department of Political Science at SIU has been around in some iteration since 1965, and it has never granted tenure to a Black American until now. In this moment, I contemplate my very first day as faculty. On that day, I was pulled aside by a white instructor in the department. That instructor told me that the only reason I had been hired was because I was Black. Today and in this moment, I think about the statement from that instructor. And though they meant what they said with racial animus, they were right, just not in the way they intended to be. You see, being Black is not just about having rich melanated skin, an enlarged nasal cavity or circular eye orbit. Being Black is a unique set of experiences based upon the social construction of race. And being Black has shaped me, and I want to articulate that here. Being Black gave me the resiliency of my grandmother, a Black woman omitted from the history books. But as a teenager in 1923, she fought her way through the swamps of the panhandle of Florida, escaping what is now known as the Rosewood Massacres. Being Black gave me the courage of my mentor, the famed attorney Fred Gray, who served as the attorney for Dr. King and Rosa Parks during the Civil Rights Movement. Fred taught me wherever I went to tear down everything that was segregationist and racist that I could find. Being Black taught me the heaviness of being the first. My father, Mr. Perry Lewis, was the first maritime crane operator to integrate the ports of Mobile in 1966. All of these uniquely Black experiences helped me in my pursuit of tenure. These experiences taught me that I had to be twice as good to get half of the recognition. That is why my publication record is twice what is required for tenure. All of these unique experiences prompted me to teach more courses than any of my colleagues in the Department of Political Science, including African American politics, women in politics in America, gay and lesbian politics, and the politics of Africa. All of these uniquely Black experiences is why the Missouri House of Representatives honored me with a resolution in my honor, resolution number 254. I hope that you vote to confirm my tenure and promotion, because in reality, I am here because I am Black. Thank you.
Thank you, and you got my vote. It just goes to show that we've come a long way, but we still got a long way to go. And we appreciate your dedication and your service, your commitment to this university, and appreciate your remarks. It sent chills down me. Thank you very much. Next speaker.
Dr. Bradley Noble. Dr. Bradley Noble.
Calling once, calling twice.
Dr. Ed Navarre.
Start by apologizing on behalf of Brad Noble. He's been pulled away by a family emergency. He was to express his retirement from SIUE. Brad Noble is an alumnus of SIU. He came back to be a professor there, professor of electrical engineering, winner of the Teaching Excellence Award. He will be leaving mid-career. My name is Ed Navarre. I am the SIUE Faculty Association President, speaking on behalf of 400 tenure track faculty. When Chancellor Minor began his role a little bit more than a year ago, he faced a difficult decision. Would he be open regarding the budget deficit at SIU? And Chancellor Minor chose the ethically sound yet difficult decision to speak publicly about it. I appreciate this choice and the courage that it took. This year, the Chancellor has also centered the importance of improving retention and graduation rates at SIUE. This is an ambition that the faculty share. We want to see our students succeed. That's why we are faculty. The plan is to enhance retention and graduation rates generally, but more importantly, to address the disparities of achievement experienced by racial minorities, and particularly our Black students, and by the economically disadvantaged represented by Pell Grant recipients. This is important work for addressing the historical exclusion of these groups from higher education. Improving student success in these ways would be a remarkable achievement for SIUE, for the SIU system, and would make SIUE, as Chancellor Minor terms it, first and best in class. Chancellor Minor and I have very different goals at SIUE. Chancellor Minor's job is to have big picture ideas for SIUE, and his vision for student success is inspiring. My job as Faculty Association President is to look at the experiences of faculty and have a vision that addresses their daily lives and advocates for dignified, livable working conditions. I spoke to the board in February about the state of morale among faculty. The situation has not improved in recent days. The long contract negotiation, now 14 months long and 10 months without a contract, continues to weigh on the minds of faculty. I hear colleagues in clerical staff, the cleaning staff, the trades, and other areas that they are at a breaking point in terms of working conditions. I continue to learn of additional faculty leaving the institution. Some are nearing retirement and simply seize the opportunity. Others are mid-career, like Dr. Noble, and leave for new positions, often without tenure. And others yet are among our newest faculty, for whom SIUE has invested a great deal of time and expense to hire. These faculty exits impact students who may have been working with those faculty on projects. It impacts students who will unknowingly experience a gap in the life of the department next year, while it is decided if the lost expertise will be replaced or not. The exits impact students because faculty are unique in their experience. We lose specific expertise, we lose diversity of perspective, of race, economic class, gender, ways of knowing, and so on. We lose representation that is important for student retention. While for students, the Chancellor aims to be first and best in class, for faculty, the plan seems to be a race to the bottom. Chancellor Minor's plan to improve retention and graduation rates at SIUE is the right thing to do. I worry that we will not have enough faculty left to do it. I asked the Board of Trustees to make available to Chancellor Minor the resources needed to both succeed in the bold plan to improve student success and to succeed in recruiting and retaining talented faculty by offering them competitive compensation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
Dr. Rachel Tollett.
Good morning, Chancellor Minor, Chancellor Lane, and distinguished members of the board. I speak today as a representative of the faculty, non-tenure track faculty, professional and technical staff associations at SIU Edwardsville, and the faculty, non-tenure track faculty, civil service employees, and graduate student associations of SIU Carbondale. Since coming to my post in 2021, I have been impressed beyond measure by the accomplishments, work ethic, and care for students shown by faculty and staff across the SIU system. My continued faith in the people who make the university work with their teaching, research, service, and labor has not wavered. There is, however, a trend that continues to give me pause. At the last board meeting, much like my colleague, Dr. DeVar, I spoke about faculty and staff morale in a way that concerned me and continues to do so. At the end of this term, the system will lose a significant academic asset, a person who has represented a brave and clarion voice with an aggressive research platform and fierce commitment to student success. Dr. Susan Dillman. At this time, I will offer some of Dr. Dillman's thoughts. She regrets that she cannot be here to speak to you herself, but she is in Edwardsville, discharging her duty as she prepares students for final exams. From Dr. Dillman. The same day I received my letter from the provost informing me that I'd been recommended for tenure and promotion to the rank of associate professor, receiving excellent ratings in all three areas, teaching, research, and service. An item that is on the meeting's agenda today. There was an article published in the Alestle announcing my departure from SIUE. Though the article emphasized that I will be returning to my home country of Canada, it failed to mention that I'll be returning to a position as an endowed chair in an interdisciplinary network of chairs tasked with developing new programming that will train trustworthy and ethical future political leaders. I will be departing SIUE to continue my teaching and research at the University of Lethbridge as the first Jaroslawski Chair in Trust and Political Leadership. The third pillar of the SIUE strategic plan states that the institution is committed to, quote, recruiting, retaining, and supporting excellent, diverse, and inclusive community of faculty and staff. The number of faculty retiring before they had planned, moving to new positions, or even returning to industry is indexical to low morale and an overall concern about campus culture, as was shown in our recent campus climate survey. The students of Southern Illinois and the Metro East deserve professors who all encourage them to pursue leadership, think beyond norms, and challenge society to embrace greater inclusivity, equity, transparency, and radical change. Our academic world and our shared society faces numerous challenges, and I firmly believe that the students now more than ever need robust philosophical and humanities education, regardless of their major, and how to think through complex issues, tackle problems, and draw critically informed and rigorously researched decisions. I am very grateful to have had the opportunity to teach, and I will continue to use my experience, knowledge, and skills to enrich the lives of students. But I most sincerely regret that they will not be the students of SIUE. Respectfully submitted, Dr. Susan Dillman. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
Julie Latemp Brazier.
Good afternoon. My name is Julie Latemp Brazier, and I am the office manager in the Department of Theater and Dance at SIU. I've been at the university for 17 years, and I enjoy working here. It's a place I like to call home. I'm a graduate of SIU and found myself coming back to the university, back to home. In the last 4 years, we have lost 92 civil service employees in our union. We have managed to rehire. However, there are still 14 positions that remain unfilled, largely due to the pay that we're receiving at the university. We do it all. We create the process and the paperwork for hiring faculty, staff, grad assistants, student workers, lecturers, instructors, everything financial short of being a bookkeeper or an accountant. We have a high level of skilled clerical workers, and most of us hold degrees. Faculty don't even know what we all do. We put together a successful permanent department. Our supervisors can't even begin what we do. We train ourselves, and sometimes, most of the time, we train our chairs as well. We're everywhere. We're in Alton, we're in East St. Louis, and we're on our main campus. You can have as many faculty as you want. We enter in the classes, we order the textbooks, we create and modify the contracts, we make the class changes, we track the budget, we assist the students, we assist our chairs in coming up with the budget. We are being paid only half of the industry standard for the work we do. If this is not corrected, many more will leave and take their knowledge with them. Who will train the new employees? HR can't. Our supervisors can't. Can you?
Thank you. Next speaker.
That's it for our speakers.
That's it for the speakers. Okay. I want to thank the speakers for coming here and giving us their thoughts. Our next item is the call for the omnibus motion. The trustees have had approximately 10 days to study the items on the agenda. A certain number are routine or self-explanatory, so as to save time, we act upon them in one motion and vote. Madam Secretary, please read the items suggested for the omnibus motion.
The omnibus motion includes board agenda items H through FF. I will note it does not include board agenda item R. As previously noted, board agenda item R was pulled from the agenda, is no longer under consideration.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the items for the omnibus motion?
So second.
Been moved and seconded. I'm now going to ask a roll call vote.
I have a comment on one of the items.
Quick question, Dr. Sharma?
Yeah, it is item on promotion and tenure from SIU Carbon. Councilor Lane. I think I understand the logic of tenure is in a school. But when it comes to promotion to associate or full, it should be in a discipline, not in the school. Because we have a school of political science, anthropology, and sociology. So promotion should belong to a discipline, not the school. And that is the understanding, I believe.
It's understanding, Chancellor Lane.
Yes.
Okay.
We got.
All right. Call the roll.
Brew,
Yes.
Curtis, Gilbert,
Yes.
Hightower,
Yes.
Odell,
Yes.
Salger,
Yes.
Sharma,
Yes.
Simmons. Trustee Simmons,
Yes.
Tedrick.
Yes.
Okay. I declare the motion approved and has been passed. The next item is board item F and G. Purchase orders and contracts for January, February 2023, SIUC and SIUE. Is there a motion to approve these items?
So second.
Been moved and seconded. Now going to ask for a roll call vote on items G and F.
Brew,
Yes.
Curtis, Gilbert,
Yes.
Hightower,
Yes.
Odell,
Yes.
Salger,
Yes.
Sharma,
Yes.
Simmons,
Yes.
Tedrick.
I recuse.
I declare the motion to have passed. Board item F, approval of purchase of teaching clinic and academic offices, building lease, School of Medicine, SIUC. Would I do that? Oh, that was in the omnibus because trustee Curtis was not here. Okay, so we'll please. Pardon? All right, that concludes the business of the Board of Trustees today. I again want to thank Trustee Brew and Odell for their service on this board the last year. We're going to miss you and we wish you well in your future endeavors. The next regularly scheduled meeting of the board will be held July 20th at Seminole University School of Medicine. A news conference will be held immediately at the conclusion of this meeting. We have a motion to adjourn.
So second.
Been moved and seconded. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Brew,
Yes.
Curtis, Gilbert,
Yes.
Hightower,
Yes.
Odell,
Yes.
Salger. Yes. Sharma,
Yes.
Simmons,
Yes.
Tedrick.
Yes.
And the motion is carried. The meeting is adjourned and thank you everybody for coming and participating